trip.
Well, this will take some time.
Hello, hello, and welcome to Elite Week. I hope you guys are ready to party. All right, I am your host, Kai Zen, and I hope my sound levels are good. I am drinking and producing the show tonight, so let's hope for the best. Fingers crossed. With me, as always, we've got Roy Cookson. Say hello, Roy.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday.
Yes, yes. Talk a little more. Let's get your levels.
Can everyone hear me? Hope you're having a good time.
Absolutely.
Have some fun.
Absolutely. Also, we've got Tweaked74. Say hi, Tweaked.
Hello, everybody. Friday night once again. We are ready to rock and roll.
That we are. And joining us tonight, we have a special guest, Commander MALTMEISTER. Say hello, Malt.
Hello, Malts. How are you guys doing? Hope you're well. We have something special for you guys tonight.
Absolutely. It will be a good night, I think, to have a few beers and to talk Elite. I'm seeing notes in here. Kai is good. Roy is good. Tweaked is good. Malt is good. That sounds like we're pretty good. I don't know. I think I dig it. I think we're good. So I'm looking right now on the YouTube, and let's see who we've got tonight. We've got Skelevra SK. Howdy. Howdy to you, sir. We got Nolan Sister. What up, Sword? We got Misfit. Hey, hey. Winter Mute. Orange Phoenix. I know that guy. Unisakashiro. Roy already messaged you. He wants to talk to you. We got some interesting stuff that we'd like to discuss. Tweak74. Rear Admiral Flaps. You sexy motherfucker. We've got Green Bear. Load 200. SP4H, Keverlack, I said that right, I think. Silent J327, let's see, Roy Cookson, Nibiru. Okay, different spelling, but I get that reference, Nibiru. Anybody else get the reference to Nibiru?
the planet that's on the opposite side of the sun. That's
Yes,
gonna
yes.
crash into us.
Nibiru is, I think, so now they're calling it NASA and other people are calling it Persephone, but going back to the old Zachariah Sitchin 10th planet stuff, that was Nibiru. Yes, yes, I dig it. Huge space nerd right there. We got Son and Wolf. We got Big C75. TG Yak. Biker Flame. Hello, Biker Flame. Commander Pixel. We've got looking through. Commander Jack. Hello, sir. I'm going through. I'm picking out. I think the restream thing is working, so we're hitting everybody. Let's see here. Going through. Jayzock. Hello, sir. Steve Shaw. Hello to you. Four English lies. I dig that. All right. We got Commander Dave Brown. I know that guy too. And Orange Phoenix again. He gets 2 messages because he's that cool. Spike 553. Hello. Hey everybody. I hope you guys have a few. Oh, Antares Fusion, the one and only, the genius that actually makes Hutton run. This is the guy. Antares Fusion is the programming guy that makes the Hutton helper and does all their programming stuff on the back end. I just want to say hi to everybody. I hope you have a beer or 5 handy because we're going to have a good time tonight. And Biotic Keen, big salute to you. All right. So without any further ado, I'm going to mute everybody and get the music playing.
Everybody's in the play, and don't you know, it's a beautiful new day. Hey, running down the avenue, see how the sun shines brightly in the city, on the streets where once was pity, Mr. Blue. Sky is living here today. Hey, Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Hey there, Mr. Blue, we're so pleased to be with you. Look around, see what you do. Everybody smiles at you. Hey there, Mr. Blue, we're so pleased to be with you. Look around, see what you do. Everybody smiles at you. Mr. Blue Sky, Mr. Blue Sky, Mr. Blue Sky. Mr. Blue, you did it right, but so comes Mr. Night, creeping over. Now his hand is on your shoulder. Never mind, I remember you this way. Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. Where did we go wrong? Hey there, Mr. Blue, we're so pleased to be with you. Look around, see what you do. Everybody
All right, that's interesting. My little radio jobby there said it had 30 seconds left, and then it just ended. So, yeah. Hello, and welcome to Elite Week. Episode... what is this? This is episode 77. Everything you need to know for Odyssey launch. It's Galactic Water Cooler, Friday, May 14th, 2021. I'm a little drunk. We're having some fun. I am Kai Zen. I will be the bartender. Welcome to our Polyam Belter fam. Oye, Boss Mang. How you doing? With us tonight, we have Roy Cookson. Say hello to everybody, Roy.
Happy Friday, everyone. I think we got a great show for you today.
Yes. We also have Tweak74. Say hi to the beautiful people.
Hello, everybody. Coming to you from sunny Eden Prime this evening.
Hell yes.
Hope everybody's ready to have some fun.
Hell yes. When you say Eden Prime, I immediately, my Eve brain twitches, my reptilian Eve brain, and I'm like, oh, I think I need another one for that. Also with us tonight is Commander MALTMEISTER. Say hello.
Hello. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. I hope everybody else is doing well as well. Let's see here. Hold on 1 second. I just got a message. This is going to be a radio edit for Monohive. Beep, beep. Yes, join when you can. WOLFDRAGON just got home and he messaged. He's like, oh, crap. I just got home. I'm about to get on the computer. Should I join? You guys are mid-show. I'm like, fuck yeah. Come on in. It's a party, bro. So, all right. Radio unedited. Beep, beep. All right, we've got a lot to get to today, so we're going to hop right to it. Right off the bat, let's start off with everybody, an introduction of what we're drinking tonight. I have in my left hand Jameson's because it's smooth and tasty. And in my right hand, I've got Dragon's Milk Bourbon Barrel Aged Stout. 11% alcohol by volume. After the first dozen bottles, you don't even notice it. It is good stuff. I'm gonna jump. I feel like I really want a good coffee recommendation right now. So let's jump to Tweaked. What kind of coffee are you drinking tonight, brother?
Tonight, I actually am trying something new. It is a white chocolate raspberry flavored coffee, and
Ooh.
the jury's still out, but so far it's not so bad. I'm not so sure if I love it yet, though.
That sounds like if you put that with 4 or 5 shots of Bailey's, it would be very delicious. Right on. And Malt, what are you drinking tonight?
Similar to your good self there, Kai. I've got some beer in one hand and a bottle of BUUR in the other hand. So,
hell yeah. Doing it right. Scotsman in France, doing it right.
oh yeah.
Hell yeah. And my good friend Roy, what are you drinking tonight, brother?
Well, I'm starting off this evening with some Pina Frizz.
You are classy as all get out, bro. Pina Frizz.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's a flavor of LaCroix sparkling water.
Okay.
I'm going to start with that. I'll probably shift gears a little later in the show.
Yeah, you know what? It suddenly occurs to me. Spoiler alert, the Swede, the Controladon, is taking tonight off. He's got stuff with the wife and kids, and I'm actually doing the production for the show. I'm producing it. So, yeah, get ready for some technical difficulties for sure. Oh, it just occurred to me the screen is entirely black. Maybe I should put on the slideshow. Yeah, I don't... Wait. Oh, no, actually. Yeah, it's good.
He was just switching, yeah.
Okay. But
No worries. We're just making the transition from ship to ground, right?
I mean, I think maybe what we should do is arrange it to where the guy that's just hanging out talking is drinking heavily, and the guy that is producing the entire show and has 3 screens of shit going that he's bouncing back and forth between. Maybe that guy should be drinking sparkling water. I don't know. We'll see. All right.
Be far less fun.
Yeah, right? Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Here we go. So I'm just looking through show notes because I've got Wolf messaging me. I've got Nolan in the Sword in the file. So our opening song tonight was Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra originally, but it was covered by POMPLAMOOSE. And our closing song is going to be I Love You Just the Way You Are, a classic Billy Joel song, but covered by Scary Pockets with THEO KATZMAN for the win. We've gotten all of our songs out, so let's do a shout out to Alan Shepard for being the first American in space back on May 5th, 1961, 60 years ago this month. Big salute to you, sir. That's a real hero right there. What's on tonight's show? Well, we've got news about Thargoid attacks, Odyssey launch news, some supposed leaks, 9 new engineers that we're going to name them, and the Crystal Forest will be saved for another several months. All this and more, so stay tuned.
If you're listening to us on the podcast and would like to see the live show and visuals, check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/Elite Week and on Twitch at twitch.tv/Elite Week. If you're watching us on YouTube or Twitch and would like to know how to catch us on our podcast, check out anchor.fm/Elite Week.
For sending us your thoughts by email, you can reach us at eliteweek3306@gmail.com.
Our very active and growing Elite Week Discord can be found at tinyurl.com/Elite Week Discord, where you can check out or contribute to community feedback, resources on turning the wheel, and real-time updates about Elite from a variety of content creators.
In addition to the Discord community feedback channel, feel free to write in our YouTube comments anything about the topic of the week, as well as anything else you'd like to share. We'd love to hear from you. Also, if you're enjoying the show on YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe and click on the bell. It really helps us out. On Twitch, a follow would be much appreciated.
If you're on Twitter, feel free to follow at EliteWeek3306 for news and information about Elite Dangerous and cool sci-fi and space news.
We record live on YouTube every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 1 a.m. UTC, so come and join in on the fun.
If you're listening to us on the podcast, please make sure to rate and review us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever platform you use. And let us know if there's a format you want us to look into.
We don't do Patreon, so save your money and just tell your friends about the show.
Hell yes. That one was defective when I got it. It was empty, so there's a reason why it went away just during the commercials. Wolf is joining us. Wolf, what are you drinking tonight, brother?
I'm continuing what I was drinking at the sushi restaurant that the wife and I were at. I have Sapporo.
Nice, nice. You are weeboo des. Yes, I dig it. I dig it. Right on. All right, so let's start off right from the very top with an guest interview, MALTMEISTER, on behalf of Operation WARBUCKS. So Operation WARBUCKS is happening starting in just a few hours, man. It's starting Saturday, May 15th at 1700 UTC, but like it's already Saturday morning in ye olde UTC Zulu time. So like it's going to go on for 24 hours and it's starting in like, I don't know, like 15, 14 hours, something like that. Each streamer is doing like a 3 to 4 hour show. There's a fundraiser. It has 2 goals. The first is to get a new PC for Commander Orange Phoenix, much beloved commander, co-founder of the SPVFA and photography director for SAG-I, to access Odyssey and provide great content for all of us to enjoy. And let's see. In addition to that, all the other proceeds that are raised are going to go towards a mental health charity foundation in Scotland that MALTMEISTER will tell us all about. The streamers will include Pixie Wifey, Rear Admiral Flaps, Dreamquasher 1, WK Jez, Captain Metzi, MALTMEISTER himself, Biker Flame, and more, as well as a surprise streamer at 7 o'clock Zulu time. We've got a PayPal link as well as a link to the schedule of it, and MALTMEISTER is going to now take over and give us a couple minutes of information about the whole project.
Hello. Thank you very much, Kai. Great to be on the show with you guys. So yeah, as Kai was saying, we have Operation WARBUCKS. I'm sure many of you in the community know about Orange Phoenix. He is very, very friendly, very community orientated, as most Scots are, I find. And he is been trying to play Odyssey recently in the alpha, and as most people have found, is not optimized yet, but it's a bit of a struggle to play Odyssey. Turns out though, he's streaming on a laptop which is about 10 years old, and it's just not going to be capable of running the game when it's released. Most of you also probably know that he runs SPVFA, which is a magazine which comes out monthly, and he does graphics, photos, art for the magazine, which he's not going to be able to do in Odyssey. So we are running Operation WARBUCKS to raise money to get him a PC. The plan is that once we hit our target, the rest of the money goes to trauma counselling line in Scotland, as Kai mentioned. And this is a mental health charity, which basically you call them up. They're available at all times, and they basically can counsel you and help you in your situation. I'm going to post a link in the chat so you guys can read about the trauma counselling line in Scotland. Health in mind, exactly, OP. So Orange Phoenix has personal affiliation with them due to past circumstance, and so he has a very close connection with this charity, and is definitely one that is worth supporting.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. As you said, Orange Phoenix is the photography editor for SAGI, which comes out every month, and he is one of the founders and council sort of guys that runs the SPVFA that put out content daily. So yeah, good stuff.
Sorry, thank you for that. Yes.
No, you said it right. Yeah.
Oh, did I? Oh, right. Okay. all good. And yeah, so we really want to support him so that he can carry on doing this, as in current circumstance he won't be able to. And in my opinion, this is not good. Somebody that gives so much to the community, we feel it's only right that we give back to the guy that has given so much to us. And yeah, so to move on to the stream starts at 5 p.m. UTC, which is going to start with Pixie Wifey. We will be having giveaways. I'll just go through so you guys know who's streaming and when. I will go through the list, and then you guys can join. So at 5 p.m. UTC, it will be Pixie Wifey, who, if you don't know, is my real-life wife. And she is going to be doing a little bit of hide and seek. It's community involved. Anyone can come along and join in. There will be a giveaway for an HCS pack and a voice attack key donated by... Yeah. This is a voice attack key of your... HCS pack of your choice as well, I should say. So whatever one you like, you'll be able to choose.
There's only one to choose. You got to choose... What's her name? The awesome scientist chick who worked for NASA on the Cassini program. There is... I'm blanking on her name right now. I want to say Elaine, but like... I'm drunk, but like there's an awesome legit NASA Cassini scientist physicist that her voice pack has very cool science facts thrown in, like a whole bunch of extra stuff. So you gotta pick that one. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
It's not a problem. Next, we've had to have a change of streamers. So we'll have a good Scottish streamer next. That's last minute edition. He will also be giving away an HCS pack and a voice attack.
Beautiful.
He will be doing some things which I believe is going to be Guardian related, but because it's late, we're not sure yet. But he will be streaming from 7 p.m. UTC until 10 p.m. UTC.
Nice.
Yeah. For those who I won't mention him. I won't mention him. It'll be a surprise because most people don't know who that is due to the late edition. And then we have our very own Rear Admiral Flaps. I'm sure most of you know. He will be streaming from 10 p.m. UTC until 2 p.m. I hope I'm getting these times right. He's doing an extra long stream, it looks like. 1, 2. Yeah, definitely. I thought that's 4 hours. He's definitely streaming for that long. And he'll be doing SRV football, which you can all get involved in, followed by winged Thargoid combat. Who doesn't like a bit of that? And he will have a game giveaway. So how I believe this is going to work is most people have Odyssey. So we don't just want to give away Odyssey. So whoever scores the most amount of goals will be able to win a game of their choice up to the value of Odyssey on Steam store, I believe, but maybe any store. And if there's a draw, it'll be a golden goal. So that's how that's going to work. So
Nice.
Please come along and get involved between 10 p.m. UTC and 2 a.m. And then we'll have Dream Squasher. He'll be 2 till 5 UTC. And this is one of the things which I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to want. We have one of our very own community members, Beetlejude, who has done a painting of a ship in Elite. I won't say which ship just now. And that's up for grabs. It will get delivered to your door wherever you are in the world. It's available for you. So please come along, get involved in that, join the giveaway, and you could have a painting of a ship in Elite. So that's Dream Squasher from 2 till 5. And what he'll be doing is Gank Dream stream. So I think it's happening in, was it Desiat, I want to say? So everyone will be able to gank him and try and kill him. Then from 5 till 8 UTC we have Boss Lady with a little bit of WK Jazz as well, doing something. I'm sure most of you guys will know what he's doing, but if you don't, come and join us. And that will be another Beetlejude painting of a fleet carrier. So if you want that, please join in. Oh, definitely. The paintings are awesome. Honestly, you have to see them.
You know what? I'm drunk, and this probably isn't well thought out, but I'm just going to add in here. I absolutely am madly in love with Boss Lady B and WK Jez. They've done a bunch of appearances on the show. They are both beautiful, beautiful people. So I'm just going to last minute, without checking it with anyone, just fuck up shit right off the bat and say, we're going to add an award for the highest donation for Boss Lady B and WK Jez co-stream, whatever stream for this event. Whoever donates the most during that time period can also, if they want, I'm sure they probably will be like, who the hell are these guys? Why would I care? But if they want, they could also appear. Next week, we're going to have as special guests Orange Phoenix and Admiral Flaps to talk all about the Pilot's Lounge. But the following week, we do not yet. We have like 3 people, but we'll push them back a week. One of the people that we're going to guest. And whoever donates the most for the Boss Lady B and WK Jazz stream can, if they want, come and be a guest on Elite Week and just hang out with us and get drunk and talk about the galaxy. Or if not, you can send in a video or a message or whatever, and we'll play it, so long as it's not like some weird racist shit. Like, you can promote any squadron, any player minor faction, any Discord, anything, and we will do a huge promotion for you because it's raising money for a good cause. So what the hell?
What the hell indeed. What the hell indeed. Yeah, it's definitely a good cause. So Boss Lady Jazz, they will be streaming, and it will be a Beetlejude painting of a carrier.
Nice.
And I'll speed up, should I? Then we have Captain Metzi. We have an asteroid race, and I know you're thinking asteroids don't go very fast. We're not racing the asteroids. We're racing around the asteroids, against each other. And then that will be an HCS pack and a voice attack key as well. Damn it, I forgot to link these guys. I will add links to all the streamers after I've gone through the spreadsheet for all you guys. That'll be easier. And then after Metzi, who finishes at 11 a.m. UTC, from 8 till 11, it's myself. I'm doing CQC, and then we're going to hunt a commander and try and kill him. But we're only going to do it in haulers. So if you guys want to get involved in that, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. UTC, bring your haulers. We're going to go to an asteroid field and try and kill a commander. Commander will not be named until the stream starts. And I will be doing a game giveaway, a bit like, as I said with Admiral Flaps, up to the value of Odyssey. I will give away a game up to that price. If you don't have Odyssey, you can obviously take Odyssey, but I believe a lot of guys here have that.
Nice.
So it should be awesome. After that, at 1 p.m., we have Biker Flame, and he will be doing multi-wing combat Thargoid and pirate. And he will be giving away a voice attack key. And he is going from 1 p.m. until 4 p.m. UTC, in which we end again with Pixie Wifey, who starts the stream, and who had a big hand in actually organizing this, starting it up, and bringing it all together. So she's going to start and finish. We have a surprise event at the end, but all I will say is bring something that you can jump distances with. We're going to have a race across the galaxy. I'm not going to say where we're starting or where we're ending for now. Actually, we're going to start at Jackson Lighthouse. I'm not going to give the end location away. And this is going to be amazing prizes on this last stream. We have a Beetlejuice painting. This is one we've voted on and we all think is the best one of the lot. And it is beautiful. You'll want this painting when you see it on the stream. Please come along. We're also getting a signed, right, if we reach the target, I should say, we're getting a signed copy of an SPVFA magazine, special edition. There was only 40 of these ever printed. Orange Phoenix is personally donating one of these. It's his own copy. He also owns another one which belongs to his father. And he's going to personally sign this and donate it to whoever wins the giveaway. And we also have another SVPFA magazine of the current issue will be printed off and sent to whoever wins the giveaway for that as well.
That's a beautiful
and
thing.
And Pixie Wifey, it's awesome, yeah, it's really nice. And Pixie Wifey will be streaming from 4 p.m. UTC until the race ends. And then we're going to have a photo shoot. Then we're going to have a photo shoot at the end. So everybody wants to come together for this photo shoot, and we'll take some pictures. Because that'll be good just to celebrate the event. And that's all the streamers. I will add those to the chat in a minute for you guys to have all the links if you want them. And so, as I said, Pixie Wifey put all this together. I just want to thank her for doing that. She's been awesome. She's got such a caring heart. And her and OP have this beautiful relationship, because of this, I'm going to start crying in a second. I'm going to stop talking. It's because of the heart that these two guys have for the community. This is why this event is basically running. So yeah, I just want to make sure everyone knows it is UTC time, which is the elite game time. So if you're unsure about what time zone, it starts at 5 p.m. Pixie Wifey, and it's on elite game time, so it's very easy to do. And very, very simple. I think I'm good.
Beautiful.
That's it.
Beautiful. We will have a link in the show notes. The PayPal link that we linked last week, we're going to actually use a different one this week because there's a link you can use that we're going to have in the show notes that it will, both work. The one from last week will still work, but the one from this week will auto update on their little tracker jobby that they're whatever. So I am looking forward to seeing a huge success on this event. Help Orange Phoenix, help this mental health organization. The Frontier Elite Dangerous community is so well known for their sort of wonderful work for charities and giving and just being very, very generous and good people. So I look forward to a massive success to this, and it'll be really cool when somebody explains to the highest person that donated during the Boss Lady stream that Boss Lady and Jez that like, oh yeah, you also get to appear on Elite Week, and then have them go like, oh, what the hell's an Elite Week? So that'll be fun to see. So yeah, man, that'll be super, super awesome. Links to everything will be in the show notes for sure. Check it out. Which takes us to, where's the button?
It's the Dark Will update.
The Dark Wheel update. 9 Puppies is at 71%. Number 2 in the system is only at 8%. 3 and 4 are around 8% or at war with each other, so they're locked. We're going to go ahead and just empty out number 2 while we keep everybody else down and take that influence to expand the Dark Wheel aimed at LFT 509. And if it doesn't hit LFT 509, we have a secondary location that we're sort of aiming at. We're going to put this to the test this week, so we'll let you know. We'll have some good news for you next week to say that we are pending expansion, and then it's the 12 days-ish, depending on how server stability and delays for patches and patches and patches and patches happen. We're going to, be seeing what happens with this. Wolf, why don't you hop in and take over and talk a little bit about the work that's been going on and give some shout outs to some beautiful people who deserve it.
Yeah, so aside from the as most of my BGS playing brethren are well aware, we had a late tick today, which whenever that happens, it always causes a hopefully controlled amount of chaos. Some places more than others, but hey, we'll get through it, and hopefully the tick will go back to being what it's supposed to be tomorrow. We're doing awesome in 9 Puppies. Everybody's helping out. Everybody's doing a great job. And yeah, we're just going to beat the number 2 in the system, Ralu Independence, over the head with a shovel. And that's how we're going to get our way up to that 75 plus and get moving on. For shout outs, let's see if I can do this without minimizing the desktop every time I talk. We've got a couple newcomers. Double Pipe Classic has joined the party. It's always good to see. And we have started moving around some personnel and whatnot for some future plans for things coming later. More to talk about on that. But yeah, it's been all kinds of fun, and it's getting really exciting to see what's going to happen with 509.
Hell yes. So we'll let you know coming up as soon as it pops. All right. That takes us to our moment of David Braben. So every week what we do is we show you a little clip of David Braben talking from the past about Elite Dangerous, about the project, about what he sort of is hoping to do with it, and then we look at that through the eyes of where we're at now with the project and what we're hoping for, what has happened and that we've gotten, what we haven't gotten yet but that we're hoping for in the future, and we kind of discuss it. So here you go.
So we're catching up with David here from Frontier Developments at GDC, fresh off of unleashing Elite Dangerous on the world, making a couple of big announcements here at GDC. Tell us a little bit for the state of Elite Dangerous right now.
I think it's in a great state. We released a good game and we're making it better and better. We released community challenges back in February, and yesterday we released the Wings beta, which is the co-op play where you see your other players' ships on the dashboard and things like that. And we've also announced today that the next update, which will also be free for PC, is called Power Play. That will be coming soon. And we're very excited about that. All that content will also be on Xbox. The other thing we've announced today, with Microsoft, we announced that Elite Dangerous is coming to Xbox One this calendar year. So we're extremely excited about that as well.
I got to imagine that it's like, to me, it sounds like a challenge to bring Elite Dangerous onto a platform like Xbox One that's a little bit more locked down. Has it been that? What has it been easy, or what, has it been a challenge to bring it onto there?
Yes, always doing something great is always a challenge. But having said that, you know, the great thing about Xbox is, or any console, is the console that's in front of us is the same as the console that's in front of you. So if we can have a great experience, then so can you. Whereas the PC is actually a bigger challenge because you've got all the different GPUs, all the different CPU setups, different memory sizes, different memory speed, different resolutions on the screen. You know, all of those things can mean that one PC has a different set of bottlenecks to another PC. All the audio solutions are different as well. You know, actually, very few PCs are alike. You know, so that's a big challenge.
But I mean, one of the challenges, though, has to be like, because a hardcore Elite player wants to sit there with the stick, perhaps even having Oculus on, wants to have that sort of that simulation feeling. Obviously, you're a little bit more limited in terms of hardware options for the Xbox players. You have to really make the game fit on controller and with perhaps. Are you planning any Kinect functionality or?
Sure. I mean, don't forget we've supported console controllers from day one because actually they work very well with the PC, and I play a lot on an Xbox controller. So I think that already works. We're happy with that. So that's less of an issue. And also, don't forget we've done lots of other games, and we were a launch title with Zoo Tycoon on Xbox One, and we've recently finished Scream Ride, which means we've got people with a lot of direct experience of Xbox One. Plus the fact it's the same engine, the same tools on Xbox One already for those two games. And so it seems it's logical for us. You know, we've got people available now who've had a lot of direct experience getting a game to work well on Xbox One.
Are you looking at any sort of cross functionality with this game? I know Microsoft have been talking a lot about Xbox One and Windows 10.
Sure. Well, the first thing is it's set in the same galaxy. All the events, the game won't be dumbed down at all. It'll be the full game. But, you know, we've been doing daily updates for our story with PC. Those will all come to Xbox as well. The same daily updates, the same changes to the galaxy. We will see if Xbox players are discovering star systems, the PC players will see those discoveries, and vice versa. So I think it's extremely exciting.
I got to ask as well, are you looking into the HoloLens that Microsoft talked a little bit about earlier? Is that something, because it's something that I could see having an application in a game like Elite Dangerous?
Sure. I mean, one of the things we designed the game to support head-mounted displays anyway from the start, and very soon we added Oculus Rift for popular demand, both inside our team and because people who'd seen it, the alpha backers, wanted it. So we added it, and a lot of players played. Nearly 10% of those alpha backers played on Oculus Rift. But the head-mounted displays all work in a very similar way. So obviously, as more come on the market, we will look at supporting them. And, you know, HoloLens we will also look at.
And the same goes for Vive and OS VR, and you know, it seems like there's so many different VR solutions out there these days.
Sure, in a few more weeks there'll be more. But that's
good time.
Great.
And but you touched on the sort of the short-term future of Elite. What's the long-term future? What are you sort of your long roadmap ahead?
Well, I'm very excited. I've said over it for a long time, very excited about some features that we will do down the road, you know, including things like landing on planets, walking around inside your spaceship, getting out of your spaceship. All of those things I think are very, very exciting. And obviously those are in the long-term roadmap. And I think as we widen the audience, you know, we're bringing the game now to Mac, which we have here, the first time we're showing it here at GDC, obviously to Xbox One as well. We got more and more players coming to the game. That actually helps us. It's sort of like a snowball effect. We can then do more with the game as well. You see more and more features. And as we bring over time, all these updates we've brought so far are free, and there will be more, but there will also be paid updates offering major new features, like some of the things I've just mentioned.
Yeah, and I guess that's something of a shift, a paradigm shift in consoles, that they're actually allowing for this sort of approach, where you build out the game, where you iterate on it, and you know, it's something that we didn't really see last generation on either PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360.
Well, I think it's great, and one of the things that have enabled it is these consoles now have storage, you know, in terms of the way they work and online updates and all this sort of thing. And I think that's very, very good for us because it means we can do this. You know, the previous generation, not only were the machines less capable, but a lot of them didn't have very much local storage or hard drives, that's what enables the sort of thing we're doing.
So, can you tell us a little bit about how sort of Elite Dangerous has changed Frontier developments and how the studio is set up today, and sort of where you want to take the studio as a whole towards the future?
Well, it's quite funny. I mean, I've been a developer for a long, long time now, working with publishers. So this is the first big game we've published on our own ticket. And so all of those things that I might have privately criticized publishers for, we're now doing. You know, it's quite funny. But hopefully we're doing them better. You know, I'm excited about what we're doing because it gives us a lot of freedom. You know, we mentioned supporting Oculus Rift right at the start. That would be much harder with a publisher because we'd have to make a business case for it, and we'd have to say, you know, and it would end up being pushed out into the future.
You don't see a lot of AAA sort of publisher financed games on Oculus, for instance.
For the reason that I'm saying, I think they think, well, it's not released yet. It's a developer piece of kit. You know, it's quite hard to get working, which is true, but it's great, and that's the other side which people aren't seeing. I mean, the great thing is we're still independent, so we can do what we like as long as it's sensible. You know, that's exciting. It's great fun.
Obviously you are then part of that sort of forefront that have been sort of pushing for VR and helping VR get a larger audience by supporting it. So what does that make you feel today when it's sort of like, it feels like now we're finally getting very close to that sort of official big commercial launch of these projects that have been kicking for a long time?
Yeah, I think this will be the sort of year VR starts to come of age. I mean, it's although you wouldn't know it, there still isn't a released VR headset yet. You know, Oculus is still a developer piece of kit. People are starting to give dates though, and I think that, you know, some are saying they're this year, like Valve's one. And that's exciting. That's great. You know, and to be honest, to me it matters less which one wins, but they keep each other honest. They make it better. You know, to me, I feel a lot of the current ones that could do with a bit more resolution. You know, you can see the pixels quite a lot, even in DK2. But that's not to say it's not great. It's just a scope for it to get a lot better, and we can support it getting better.
Have you tried the Vive one? Because the resolution on that one is just crazy. 2 screens with 1920, 1080.
I think with those things, it's all exciting, and as it gets better and better, and my gut feel is it needs to be around 4K per eye.
So you know where to aim for, developers of VR headsets then. But I gotta say, for a game like Elite Dangerous, sort of it's not that distraction if there is 1 or 2 pixels in there that you sort of I mean, it's worse in some other games. I think Elite Dangerous is a game that lends itself very well to the technology already today.
Absolutely. Well, we've had a lot of learning now because we've been supporting Oculus for a long time about you know, how not to make people feel sick, all of that sort of thing, how to make it feel very natural. And, you know, the way the interfaces light up as you look at them feels really natural, and you just think, oh yes, that's how it always should be, you know. But we put a lot of thought into making it that way, and I think that's what's exciting. You know, I love working with new technology and how it makes the games better.
Very exciting time. So, but you know, what would you say for what does it mean now to have the product live for Frontier to sort of be live out there and sort of push the product along, and what has it meant?
It's been great. It's also a great responsibility, you know, making sure people are happy with what we're doing. But it also enables us to make it better. You can see where things saying, oh, well, we could have made that better, but we can. This is what the updates are doing, you know, community updates. We didn't think there was enough community type interactions in the game. Wings released yesterday. That's addressing things, making whole elements of the game better. And the game is just getting better and better. So I think the ability to do that's been fantastic. That's been really great. And it changes the way we think about things.
All right, so there you go. You've got David Braben talking excitedly back in the day. And there's a couple things I want to note. First off, he talks about how it's easier to actually program and develop for the console. So maybe next time around, The console players can do the beta testing, and the PC players can come in and just get the, sort of nice, clean, finished products. I'm sure there's some console guys who would be willing to put in the effort to do that. In addition to that, we've got the whole situation about, him talking about walking in ships, which made me excited, and him talking about how, Elite is so amazing for what they can do with VR, how they can include VR in the work that they're doing, that, it's really hard to sort of justify that to a developer, a publisher when you're the developer. But when you're the developer and the publisher, that you can put in that VR support right off the top, and how amazing it is that you can do things like that when you have the power as both the developer and the publisher. So we've got, talk about walking in ships, talk about developing for consoles, and talk about VR. Let's see what everybody's opinions are. What do you guys think? Let's start with Roy.
Yeah, I agree with what the points are that you just brought up. I'd add, I really enjoy watching these, I'll call them historical Braben videos, mainly because we kind of, without seeing those, you can hear that he supports this or that or the other, or a certain thing was wished for in the Kickstarter. But I really enjoy sort of getting to read the body language and hear it in his voice. And when he talks about walking around in your spaceship, or how he talked about VR, it really to me makes it clear that he believes those things. He really wants those things. It's not just someone saying that stuff. It's I think that's a real value in watching these videos, is kind of sussing out which of these things he's really passionate about. And one other thing, and it's not really about what he said, but more about the kinds of marketing videos that they were showing at the time, and I think they've continued to show it a bit in some of the downloads that came after this. But I'll call it the fantasy of small ships in battle. There's more than a few of these promo videos where you see, like, it looks like some courageous Cobra Mark IIIs and an Eagle swooping around anacondas and Fer-de-Lances or something, and playing an active part in the battle. And I'm really one of the things I'm looking forward to is post Odyssey, if there's more and more reasons to fly a small ship, because I'd love to see that sort of vision come true of there not being such a meta around everything but a small ship.
Right on. Wolf, hop in on this.
I think the most interesting thing is when you listen to David Braben talk, and there's a difference between when he's talking about something that he's really happy to see, and when he's just giving like just interviews and whatnot. It's subtle, but you can tell when he's really excited about something, he's really dedicated to something. The way that he was talking about just getting the VR stuff going and ported onto the game, like, that was said with a level of enthusiasm that, like, it's something he wants to make happen. And he said very similar things about later on developments, because we're looking back through time at this, but you can go back and look at these with that eye and see, it's like, this is where the man steering the ship has his vision set on. And when he sets his vision on it, it happens. And that, I think, is really, really awesome for the longevity and complexity of Elite Dangerous.
It may just be the alcohol talking, but I gotta say, I love seeing David Braben speak from the heart, speaking excitingly, speaking, from a standpoint of, like, how do I say it? Just, it's like, I am so, I know this is shitty to say, but, like, God damn it, I'm jealous. Like, I don't want to share David Braben with all of the other products from Frontier. It's like, I long for David Braben just being in charge of Elite specifically. And, like, oh, I love seeing excited David Braben, and it's like, I want that guy out of the big office, turn it over to a suit, get back to just doing Elite, because it's so great what he can do. Tweaked, hop in on this.
Yeah, David Braben and his pure enthusiasm and his absolutely obvious love for Elite Dangerous and Elite all through the years is why I have such faith that in the future, even if things aren't great momentarily or haven't been great in the past, in the future, it's just going to keep getting better because this is David Braben's firstborn child. He's going to do what he can to make it succeed and grow to be what he wanted it to be. That being said, with current circumstances, that video kind of put a little salt in the wound when he's talking about how consoles are kind of easier in some regards and so on and such forth because as we all know, we're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. So that kind of was a little different to hear, but that aside, I mean, David Braben, just anytime you get him talking about Elite Dangerous, you see a sparkle in his eye, and it's contagious. It really is.
Yeah, 100%. And Malt, I want you to hop in on this. Talk about joining in the Love Fest. We're talking about our man David Braben.
Damn you. No, okay, yeah. I've played Elite games since the first one, and honestly, it's almost like he's above all else in my eyes. As was just mentioned, he's got such a love for this game, and you can tell with, especially the early, like the work he's put in. I just played so much in those games. I can't speak about him without putting up above man. So I think it's wrong for me to do so. No, I think the guy he's awesome. As I said in the chat, he's a great visionary, but if it weren't for him, I don't think we'd have a game like this, to be honest.
Completely agree. All right. So we heard, I didn't hear a single person hop in on the whole subject of, walking in ships. He talked about it. It's, God, it's the thing for me. It's like, that's the thing that it was like, oh, I can has. But,
I gotta believe it's coming. I mean, we've seen a lot of the other things that he's talked about have come to fruition, and up until Odyssey's announcement of what Odyssey was going to be, the #1 ask from the community was space legs. And I would say at this point, the #1 ask from the community is ship interiors. So I believe down the line, it'll be coming to us.
Hell yeah. All right. So that takes us to our next bit, which is about, and this is kind of interesting. So we link a lot of videos and stuff on this show, and we say, go check this out, go check that out. And a lot of times, you check it out, you don't, whatever. This one, if you're hearing this, I'm telling you, go watch this video. This is not a slight recommendation. This is a must watch if you have not already seen it. This is a video by Kim Justice. It's The Story of Elite, a Space Opera. I'm going to warn you up front, this is an hour-long video, but this is must-watch territory. This video talks about how Elite started, how there were 2 young students at, what was it, Lord's College or whatever in Cambridge. David Braben and Ian Bell talks about the 2 of them, how they met, how they discussed about this project, what Bell was working on already, what Braben was working on already, how they came together as a group and changed the face of gaming. It talks about the brilliance of the first Elite, how sort of they went on with it from there, like different versions of it, and how they, both got a big payday. David immediately put his money back into sort of like continuing, sort of starting the little teeny tiny fledgling company that was Frontier at that time, and sort of reinvested. Bell and how he sort of worked into other things. It takes a very neutral sort of uncompromised view of the 2 sort of like, it's not saying Braben was the good guy and Bell was the bad guy, or Bell was the good guy and Braben was the bad guy. It talks about sort of how the game progressed from there, how their friendship sort of soured, how they went their separate ways, things that have happened since then, what each of them have sort of worked on. It is a very, very cool and interesting sort of look at the lives of these two gentlemen, these two geniuses that sort of changed the face of gaming forever. And it's not taking either person's side. It's just sort of saying, here's the story. I think if you were a fan and player of Elite Dangerous enough that you're spending a Friday night getting drunk and listening to, 4 or 5 assholes talk about the game, this is a thing that you need to see, because it's a thing that you probably are invested enough in it at this point that is like, yeah, you're going to want to see this. And I've heard from a lot of people that like, oh, well, Ian Bell was the genius, not David Braben. He was just the front man. Ian Bell was the genius and blah, blah, blah. And Braben's a sellout and whatever. And it's like, first off, you're full of shit. That's not the case. David Braben is a genius. Ian Bell is a genius. These are two guys that they got on the record talking about this whole thing and talking about their collaboration and talking on the record about how it soured. And both of them, neither one of them said, I was the guy that did it all. The other guy was just the slacker that was riding my coattails. They both said, no, I don't like that guy. But he put up half of what this was. Both of them said that. David Braben is a genius. This is not questionable. Ian Bell is a genius. This is not questionable. How they went about their lives and choices that they made and why one guy ended up in place A and another guy ended up in place B, that's all kinds of stuff that you could argue this, that, and the other, but both of them credit the other 50-50. And these are two guys that don't like each other, so they don't have any reason to credit the other. They both credit each other 50-50 with the original Elite. And that changed, and we're going to talk about that. That's going to be our discussion topic, one of them coming up. Changed the face of gaming for forever. So check out that video. Link is in the show notes. Kim Justice, The Story of Elite, a space opera, 1 hour long, and I've seen it twice and probably going to watch it again. So, yeah. Next up, we've got Obsidian Ant 3307, Elite Dangerous, Thargoid, FPS, Odyssey, and Horizons instancing. He put out a video that talked about all kinds of stuff that's coming up, talked about stuff that we're going to, dive into shortly. So link is in the show notes. Go and check it out. It is worth it. Next up, we have a trio of videos from MATTIUS, a long-term friend of the show. 3 videos that you absolutely need to see. The first is Elite Dangerous Odyssey and Beyond, Wishlist and Roadmap. Where does that sounds familiar from somewhere. Yeah. He gives a very good list of things that he would like and a roadmap of how he would like to see it go forward. Link is in the show notes. You must see this. Next up from him, Elite Dangerous Odyssey and Explorer's Wishlist. This video, if there's one video that you see about Odyssey and sort of things that you can like about it, things that you kind of maybe not like about it, things that you really, really wish were a little different, or if not a little different, like, this is good. This is a good framework. Here's where I hope they go with it. This video, Elite MATTIUS, MATTIUS, Elite Dangerous Odyssey and Explorer's Wishlist. This is a video he did back in December. I've been sitting on it, and I specifically said I wanted to wait until the week before Odyssey came out because I knew everybody and their mom was going to be digging around looking for stuff and like, oh, whatever. This is a video that you should see. I think, as a person who is not maybe always the biggest fan of combat and a person who wants more Star Trek and more NASA, I want more sort of missions to go figure out a riddle, figure out a mystery, look about a plant, see what's going on with this, go with that, with this exploration. And this ties very much into, again, one of the things we're going to talk about on our discussion topics coming up here. A very, very big and important thing about Elite, and just this video needs to have 10 million views. This video needs to be watched by everyone at least twice. So go check it out. And then lastly from him, I'm going to throw in one that he just did not that long ago, the Groups of Elite Dangerous, the Club. if you're new to the lore of Elite Dangerous and you kind of don't sort of 100% know about like some of the lore, the club is basically the Illuminati. They're the bad guys that are running shit behind the scenes, that are doing all kinds of nasty, nasty stuffs. And their job is to stay rich and keep you dumb and uninformed, and sort of pick your leaders and pick your governments and pick your sort of whole life for you. And yeah, so this is an interesting thing you should see, and we should, as much as possible in the game, make choices to sort of fight against that, disrupt that whole thing, fight the power, whatever. Next up, we've got a video from Drew Rhaegar, A Visit to the Space Dredgers, 2 hours long. He just put it out. Drew is, obviously an elite author, an official elite author, a guy that is very, very, very knowledgeable about the history of Elite Dangerous, and he does a 2 hour long sort of fireside chat where he goes out and says, hey, let's look at this dredger, and let's talk about the dredgers. Let's talk about the sort of, history of these clans who basically bought out these sort of old, semi-defunct sort of generation ships that have these big chewy jobbies on the front that they can assimilate whatever. They can run across asteroids and chew them up and turn them into raw resources and keep them going. And these weird sort of cults or clans or whatever organizations, hippies or whatever they are, these different, very, very different groups, everything from people that are, keepers of sacred lore to cannibals that just sort of went out and started off their own thing, and they just Jonestowned it up. They bought their own thing and they went out in their direction and they separated from the rest of society. It's cool shit, and you should look into it. Next up, we've got the BUUR Pit and TOCOSO with the video Touchdown. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Obviously, TOCOSO has already given us permission to play all of his music, and everybody's already sort of, like, you heard it on the Frontier live stream. You heard it on several different places where they've played this video from the BUURs. The BUUR Pit, beautiful people. TOCOSO, beautiful people. Just a home run all the way around. We'll play the song, but you've heard it 3 or 4 times already this week in different places, so we'll play it in a month or so or whatever after it chills out a little bit. But amazing stuff, really, really good. Tweak, you had something on the Drew Rhaegar Dredger Clan stuff, yeah?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if people don't know, Drew Rhaegar he's the real deal. I mean, he's played all of the Elite games through the years, and he does a chat, a stream on Twitch every week about Elite Dangerous, and it's always charming, it's always fun and intellectual, and if you like that kind of thing, if you like somebody that actually enjoys the games, and he's not afraid to call out things that he doesn't like and call out things that he doesn't agree with, and make some suggestions and things like that. He'll call it as he sees it. So I always enjoy Drew Rhaegar's streams.
100%. Always good stuff. So that takes us to, and this is silly and stupid and whatever, but whatever, it's my show, so I'm going to do it. Saturday Night Live last week in the US featured Elon Musk. He was there, and there was a lot of videos. There were clips or skits, whatever you call them, that they do that are kind of meh. But one of them was freaking hilarious. Chad on Mars. There's a link in the show notes. You can skip the entire hour-long kind of snooze fest and just get to the one video that was hilarious. Elon Musk on Mars. There's a big, oh my God, there's a big emergency. There's something. We need a hero. And Chad, the hero, steps up in the most hilarious way possible. Link is in the show notes. It's about, 3-4 minutes, and you will laugh your ass off. Guaranteed. So for sure, check it out. And that takes us to Tweak's Console Corner. And let me play the asset for that. Tweak, take it away.
All right. Well, for those of you that have been listening to Elite Week for a while, you may remember quite a while ago now, I think it might have been the very first Tweak's Tip of the Week, actually, where I talked about how to escape being interdicted, how to escape a ganker by plotting your high wake and having the key hot, the next jump in route hotkeyed and all that kind of thing. Well, it just so happens that my good friends in Cult of the Murder Goose, we just call them Cult, they are a PvP squad on Xbox, and they are holding an event on May 29th, and everybody on Xbox is invited to go out there. What they're doing is they're holding basically a training course to teach everything I talked about in that tip of the week that week, how to set your hotkey, how to plot your course, how to submit. What if you have any questions, if you don't know how to do it, if you are tired of being pulled and all that kind of stuff, this is a really great way to do it. It is a surefire way. I've escaped being. I got pulled by a Fertilance. I was in my Shieldless Type 9 doing a merit run, and I used this tactic that I learned from these guys back in our LSR days, actually, back when we were all in that squadron. And I got away before they could blow me up. So it works. It works almost 100% of the time. So May 29th, the date is in here. We'll get the link for you. If you're on Xbox and you want to learn this stuff, you can always hit us up at OPIX. We can help you. But this event is a great event for the public. I couldn't suggest enough. If you're on Xbox and you need to learn this kind of thing, head on out there. These guys will teach you up the right way.
Hell yeah. Now, those of you that are listeners, long-term listeners of Elite Week, you'll know, we called out the Cult of the Murder Goose a couple of weeks ago for a big PvP event that they did. And, they're doing this class of, don't be Timmy, don't get ganked. We'll teach you how to avoid it if you're playing on Xbox. They've got another big PvP event that's going to be happening again in the Lightning Fields, like in June or whatever.
Yep, about the little after, I think it was June 11th and 12th and 13th. They're jumping the carriers back out to those Lagrange clouds. So if anybody on Xbox wants to go out with them, or even on PC or whatever, you can hop on their carriers and just go out there and see the clouds if you wanted to. But yeah, they're going back out for that again too.
Hell yeah. And we called them out, and now I'm hearing them getting called out by other people. They're good content creators, and we always love promoting them, so we'll continue to do that. And just make sure you remember you heard about them here first. So yeah, Cult of the Murder Goose, big salute to you gentlemen. And we'll look forward to more great content and events coming from you. That takes us to our next segment, which is...
For news beyond the game, it's Frontier News.
That's right, folks. It's Frontier News. Whew. Let's start off with forum threads. There were two big forum threads this week that sort of everybody needs to be aware of. The first is Horizons Odyssey compatibility. Now, with regard to this, the link is in the show notes. Greeting Commanders. This was posted by Bruce. We hope you enjoyed the recent alpha for PC version of Elite Dangerous Odyssey. Thank you once again for your feedback and suggestions, which will have a lasting impact for all future commanders. This only marks the beginning for Odyssey. After the game launches on May 19th, we'll continue tweaking and balancing according to your experiences, just as we have done in the past. We know there are still a number of questions from the community, and today we'd like to give more information about the shared galaxy between Elite Dangerous Odyssey and Horizons. From PC launch, all Elite Dangerous Odyssey players will gain access to the new features, including planetary improvements, enhanced lighting, textures, and differences will mean that Elite Dangerous Horizon players cannot share a gameplay session with Odyssey players. However, Odyssey owners will have the ability to share the session with Horizon players by launching into the Horizons mode from the launcher. Though if they do this, they will temporarily not have access to Odyssey features. From console launch onwards, in light of the console launch, we plan to update Horizons on Elite Dangerous on all platforms, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, to allow Odyssey and Horizon players to reunite and play together with other users on their respective platform. All Horizon players will also receive the new graphical updates, including new planetary tech, lighting, graphics, free of charge, but will not be able to get out on foot or enter Odyssey tenuous atmospheres. If you have any questions, please leave them in the thread down below. We will answer them as publicly as we can. 07. So I want to take just a moment here, because there have been some people that have said like, oh, well, that means that, you know, what they're saying here is come console launch, Odyssey and Horizons will be sort of in one galaxy all the time. That's great. I just want to clarify something here, and let me pull it up on the screen for everybody to see. Find the button. There we go. Here is the community managers on a stream not a month ago making something very, very clear. So listen to what they have to say. All right, we're going to need to, hold on one second. This will be a YouTube, this will be a podcast mute. I got to fix this because apparently, somehow, this is not coming through. So let me change something real quick here. Give me just a moment for technical difficulties. Jesus Christ, we did this.
So we're catching up with David here from Frontier Developments at GDC, you know, fresh off of unleashing Elite Dangerous on the world.
Here's the old one.
Yeah, no. Hold on. I think I actually have to be unmuted myself for this to work. Let's see. Nope, no sound at all coming through. All right. Never mind. Sorry, we're going to have to wait. I think I can do this. All right, never mind. Sorry, we'll play this for the video later, but yeah, it's yeah. Okay. Long story short, this is Art saying on stream that not even a month ago, saying that the fact of the matter is that whenever you land on a planet, they're going to have to separate Odyssey players from Horizon players because of the PEGI rating. Now, I understand that this statement, as vague as it is, kind of makes it sound like, yeah, we're going to all be together, which means that, you know, would lead people to have the hope, because I've seen it, where people are saying like, oh, they fixed it then. We're going to be together, landed on the planets. That is not the case. They have given no direct reason to think, as of now, that sort of that's going to change at all, as far as you're still going to be instanced separately because of the PEGI rating. If that were to change, they would have had to have made an explicit statement otherwise, and they have not. So I think you know, would it be better if Frontier as a company were to be sort of better at communicating? Yes. But as it stands now, you have to assume that come Odyssey, when they say they're going to be reunited, they're talking about you'll be reunited in space. That's not going to change this whole pegging rating issue that says that you can't be together on the planet. So, all right. That is a thing. Roy, hop in on this.
Yeah, so I think you clarified it there again. In space, you're together on the planet, even though Horizons will have the correct geometry updated for the new planet surfaces. You just be in a different instance. The thing that immediately made me think of is, does this mean that if we were ever to get EVA, then you'd have to be in a separate instance in space as well?
I mean, we are a long way from EVA, so that's not even. That's a 3 to 5 year from now problem. That is not a right now figure it out problem. So who knows? I think honestly, if you were to ask even Frontier, they wouldn't be able to tell you that. The things to keep in mind is, so number one, I've seen a lot of people very, very angry about this and very, very upset about this. I'll say this. I 100% understand you being upset from the standpoint of this is a case where Frontier said they were going to do something. They said that from May 19th, everybody was going to have prettier planets, regardless of whether or not you had Odyssey. And that the Odyssey people were going to have, access to the tenuous atmospheres where you could land and do other stuff. Now they've changed it on the eve of Odyssey launch, within a week of Odyssey launch, they've changed it. And I understand people are mad. People have, quite frankly, there's a lot of people have just been like on forum threads saying like, this is how you demand a refund, get your money back. This is a sham. This is whatever. Okay. I mean, let's look at this. Number one, yes, granted, this is not good. This is unfortunate at the very least. I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe this is yet another example of they are scrambling to the finish line. They are not going to have time to get the optimization quite done right. And so they're like, all right, cut this. That's got to go. We'll give it to them later. Whatever. Move to the next thing. Go, 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 go. We are way behind. We have to throw out something. They are making a mad dash. I don't think they wanted to do this. I think they had to do this because they're backed into a corner. But who exactly is hurt by this? Let's look at it. If you are a Elite Dangerous Odyssey player, you have the ability still to jump into Odyssey or to go back. So you are hurt by this if you have very definite plans to do stuff with Elite Dangerous Horizon players who are not upgrading to Odyssey. That is true. If you are somebody who runs a big event, such as these guys that do these massive, multi-hundred people expeditions that you sign up on whatever, and you're like, hey, this expedition is available for Odyssey and Horizon players. You have a legitimate beef because you were told that you were going to be able to provide an experience. You told other people you were going to be able to provide it, and now sort of you're not. Those people are going to be instanced and separated from each other. I get that. If you're a Horizon player, you were told you were going to get access to all of this new planet tech for free, and now you're not for several months. You will eventually, but not now. Okay, I get it. But, you didn't pay anything. So, okay. Looking for the bright side in this, and I completely understand if people don't want to look for the bright side, but I'm just trying to find it here. I will say this. I was pretty sure that the Crystal Fields were going to be dead as of Wednesday. Now, Frontier is telling us very clearly they're not. Because even though the Crystal Fields may very well be dead in Odyssey mode, I can just hop into Horizon modes and go collect my shit, and then hop back into Odyssey mode and enjoy the beautiful planets. I understand that some people might call me a Pollyanna for looking for that bright side, but I'm seeing that silver lining, and I'm feeling really good about it. So let's get everybody's sort of feelings on this. Let's start with you, Tweaked.
Yeah, we talked about this quite a while back, actually, that could end up being this way, and it is. It's gonna again separate the community further. Xbox can't play with PlayStation. Xbox can't play with PC. PC can't play with PlayStation or Xbox. We're all separated in that regard. You have people in private group and solo play that are separating themselves. And now you've got Odyssey players that have to downgrade their game to Horizons if they want to fly with their Horizon friends. Not a great look, not the end of the world either, because in time it will all go back to the way it should be. But that being said, a few months is quite a while.
I get it.
I mean, in the long run, it's not, but in gaming time, it is kind of. So it's not great, but again, it's not the worst case scenario.
Let me ask you a question. Show of hands. People in the chat, whatever, pipe up. Just give me a plus or you know, +1 if this applies to you. How many people are going to take advantage or plan to take advantage of, hey, gives me another chance to refill my mats at the Crystal Fields. Hey, that gives me another chance to actually get good at SRV racing and actually go drive around on Pamesh before it goes away, those amazing ridges. Or, hey, you know what? For as much as I've heard it mentioned 8 or 12 different times on videos, I've never seen Mount Everest for myself. I'm going to want to go see that before it goes away. I'm seeing Sword with a +1, Biotic Keen, Orange Phoenix, Individual, WOLFDRAGON, Whiplock, Nemesis, Able Airy, yeah, Silent J, Load 200. I'm seeing a lot of people like, okay, I 100% get that there was something that was promised that is not going to happen now, okay, for a couple months. It will happen in a couple months. But I'm also seeing an opportunity here for us to really go and do a big Elite Week get-together, do a Black Sky Legion get-together on Mount Everest with a bunch of SRVs sitting there. Go do a little thing like, and yeah, again, I'm fully admitting. So here's the thing, and I said this in the Elite Week Discord this week. I've had a little bit of Schadenfreude lately and a little bit of, Frontier, just some personal stuff that I wasn't a huge fan of, and maybe I was a little less charitable than I should have been. Human beings, and I'm definitely a flawed human being, we have tendencies to sort of, you know, if you don't like a person or if you don't like a thing or if you're not looking at something charitably, you can find good reasons to rail at everything that happens and say, look at this is ridiculous. I'm a dick. I'm a bit of a dick. I try to be a better person each day, but it's a thing that you have to try every day. You have to work at. I have not been as good of a person lately as I could have been. I'm trying to be more charitable, and when I look at a game that I love and a lot of people all circling the wagons now to get together and sort of shit on them and give them a hard time, I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to go against the grain. I am going to try to see the positives. I'm still going to point out things that are problems. I'm going to still point out things, and I'm still going to be real, but I'm going to try to find the positives and share the love about this shit. So yeah, there is definitely things to not like about this announcement, but there are some silver linings there. Wolf, hop in.
So I had 2 points. One was about the PEGI rating possibility things if we do EVAs. I would hope that this would be a learning experience for them to not mess with the PEGI rating and whatnot and cause these issues unto themselves like they have now. The other one is with not giving the pretty planets and enhanced visuals to everyone on Horizons from the outset. Let be down to brass tacks. The requirements to run this game in Horizons mode are pretty low, especially by comparison to, released this year game standards. This is bringing in some technology and some fancy stuff that's going to really tax that hardware. Maybe, just maybe, they realize that there's no way that they can get the optimization in correctly to run Odyssey on existing quote unquote old hardware that we, some of us have. I've got a very old rig. And force everyone who wants to play the game at all to have to go out and buy a new GPU. Oh wait, that's a little difficult right now.
Wait, we don't all have 3080s? I thought we all had. Oh, rough.
I got an RX 570.
Okay, right on.
You suck for even bringing that up.
Yeah. Well, hey, I do suck, but I also swallow, so cut me a break. All right. Yeah, that takes us to our next item on the agenda for Frontier News, which is the notice of, here we go. Elite Dangerous Odyssey launch server downtime May 19th. Greetings, Commanders. Again, this was Paul Crowler, and this one is literally, he posted the notice and then closed the thread. No comments. No comments right now. Server downtime May 19th. Greetings, Commanders. We hope that you're excited for launch of Odyssey. Expansion marks Elite Dangerous' biggest ever update, and as such, we'll be taking servers offline in preparation for the launch. All Elite Dangerous servers will be taken offline for all platforms at 7 o'clock Zulu on Wednesday, May 19th, and will be down for approximately 11 hours, returning at 1800 hours Zulu. We look forward to taking that one giant leap with all of you. Oh, yeah, sorry. Zulu UTC. That's what I mean, UTC. Old habit. So, Tweaked, I know you had a question or a statement on that.
Yeah. All platforms? 11 hours? What the hell? Why is it coming down for console when it comes back up? The game's going to be just like it is today. So I don't understand why it's got to come down for us. Since we're not getting any upgrade whatsoever.
I definitely understand your frustration, and your frustration is aimed at the whole fact that consoles have a delay. But I will say this is absolutely standard practice in all MMOs. They have to take the whole server down to do a guess what? It's going to be down on PC as well when they actually launch the console, whatever. When you do a major whatever, you have to take the whole thing down, upload your stuff, cross your fingers, and pray to Odin that shit comes back up when you hit that red button. So this, I get your frustration, but this just is a thing.
Maybe in the old days, I don't believe it still has to be necessarily. It just seems wrong. I don't understand why it's still that way today.
Fair enough. Absolutely. I get your frustration. So that takes us in the, to the...
Roy wanted to say something.
No.
Oh, no. I was just commenting on Malt's comment. It's all good. It's the BGS that's between the platforms. That's why it has to all go down.
100%. So that takes us to the next thing, which is tweets. So the Thargoid returned, and there was a hidden message. Frontier tweeted, "The Thargoids return," and there's a hidden message from Salvation that was embedded in it. There was a tweet with a little short video clip, and on it there were a bunch of numbers that popped up, numbers and letters. It was a code. When you crack the code, it says react, all Aegis ever do. That's all Aegis ever do. We need a solution! ! Written by Salvation. So super interesting. And that takes us to our sort of next piece of news, which is as the Anti-Xeno Initiative announced yesterday at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, massive Thargoid presence detected. A massive Thargoid presence has been detected in 7 systems across the Pleiades and Coalsack Nebula. AX pilots are asked to mobilize and respond to the threat immediately. Priority reports will be posted in defense targets shortly. Once the situation is assessed, Eagle Eye Defense will be utilized for updates and further information. These systems can expect to find Thargoid combat missions, AX conflict missions, damage stations, station rescue missions. Quick note on that. All of the factions in those stations are independent or alliance factions, so there is no imp or federal rep grind available right now. There's a link to the Reddit thread on it. The message ends, "This is not a drill. Glory to mankind." Just as a note from us, the systems affected are HIP 18390, Solano, Atlas, Pleiades Sector HR TAC W D1 TAC 74, Musca Dark Region PJ DAC P B6 TAC 1, Colsac Sector VU TAC O B6 TAC 6, Colsac Sector KN TAC S B4 TAC 9. That is the stations, the systems rather, that are under attack. There were 2 streams this week. Tuesday, Super Cruise News number 33 with Zach and Sally. Link is in the show notes. The only sort of big thing that was stated in that was that they are now starting a new thing called Commanders Creations. It's similar to Stellar Screenshots, but doesn't just have to be a screenshot from in-game. It could be, here's my Lego Anaconda, or here's a painting that I did of a Thargoid, or here's I don't know, whatever. They want people to submit cool stuff, and they're going to review them on the Super Cruise News shows. Thursday was an anti-Xeno combat stream. ARF playing from home on the Xbox, doing anti-Xeno combat with various guests. I know Orange Phoenix was a guest on the stream, and it was just, chill and whatever. It wasn't so much a, news type stream as it was just playing around and hanging out and chilling and talking. So that takes us to Galnet News. Roy, take it away.
Yeah, so on the 10th of May, 3307, Alliance election campaigns resume. This was about Edmund Mahan's delay to have the election happen after the summit. Sounds like there's never been a prime minister in the alliance serve more than a term, so not sure if that's going to play into this or not. If he'll get a second term or Kane will follow him.
You want to make a bet? I'll bet you right now that he stays on, because otherwise they got to do work to change his name and picture and all that shit.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
On the 11th, Parisa conflict risks war between superpowers. I guess this story was proven wrong 2 days later when the conflict ended with no war, maybe. On the 13th, 2 stories, the one about the mass Thargoid strike, which you've just covered, and then Nova Imperium triumphs over Federation. Again, the outcome of the CG there. And then today we had federal citizens approve government scrutiny. So it's the outcome of that previous CG was taken as a mandate to, I guess, scrutinize people harder into a police state. So
yeah, the whole thing started with, we definitely need help spying on people, just, because we got to fight terrorists. And then it expanded to, we also want to go after criminals and, maybe also people we just don't like the look of. This is a situation, I remind everyone of the very famous quote by Benjamin Franklin: those that will relinquish their freedom for security will get neither and deserve neither. So, yeah, I know this is probably, you're like, dude, you're a fucking space nerd. We're talking about a video game. None of this exists. Okay, but it's the principle of the thing. Roy, let's talk about them community goals.
Yeah, so we had the 2 finished, the fight for the Nova Imperium and the fight for the Federation. I guess interestingly, like one got to tier 0 and the other got to tier 1. So they just barely won, and neither one had a lot of participation.
So they weren't giving out any special shinies. They weren't giving out massive, stupid overpayment in money. They weren't giving out, here's some engineering mats, or here's a sticker, or here's a paint job, or whatever. It was no special whatever. It was just, who cares about the story? And let me tell you something. The feds always win the CGs against the Empire. People, turns out, don't like slavers. Don't know why, whatever. But this is the first time that I can recall where the Empire actually won a CG. And I'm so fucking glad that they did, because look, the Nova Imperium situation was a bunch of people that did not, Federation, that did not have evidence of anything, came in, invaded another sort of sovereign territory, and said, we're going to go out and either kill or arrest this guy. Nobody's going to stop us. It was a lynching. And despite the, let's say, bias against the Empire that is normally found in CGs, in this one particular case, Nova Imperium, an Empire-based faction, won. They fought off those people that had come to illegally, kick in the door and take over their stuff. So I for one, salute the hell out of that. So good shit. And we don't have a CG per se this week, but what we have is the bugs. The Thargoids are back. CZs are there. Conflict zones are there. Everything is there. Fight them off. So this week's CG is fight for survival. Everybody needs to go out there, support the AXI, support the Hand, support the Hive, support Haxcom, support any AX group of any kind, and support humanity. We all gotta, fight together for survival. Yeah. Don't leave me hanging, Roy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That was rhetorical.
So that takes us to. Where's the button? There it is.
Real life science.
Real life science. We got a ton this week, so we're going to go through it rapid fire. Right off the bat, we're going to start off with NASA, OSIRIS-REx departure, farewell to asteroid Bennu. There was a 49-minute live stream on Monday, May 10th. OSIRIS-REx left Bennu to begin its 2-year trip back to Earth with the return of its historic samples. Check that out. Watch the whole stream. It is good stuff. Put it on the second screen while you're killing bugs. It is great shit. OSIRIS-REx spent 2 years studying asteroid Bennu. Landed multiple times, collected soil samples, the whole 9 yards. It was an amazing mission, and now it's on its way back to us. Also, Simply Space. NASA find liquid water on Mars! ! This is a video that goes through a whole series of things where they were like, we found it here, we found it there, we found there's this Linnae that, this is, stuff, and that Dr. K specifically talked about it, that it's a thing that's in Odyssey now, but NASA has marked these Linnae on Mars and said this is sort of proof of sort of evaporating salt waters and sulfates and whatever that are sort of melting, becoming liquid, whatever, coming out of the rocks, running down, making these little ravines, and it's a process that happens over and over. Then they talk about these underground lakes that they found, that they've taken images of, where they say, hey, we think that this right here, that's an underground lake. They've talked about ice on the poles, the whole 9 yards. It's interesting stuff, and it leads to a lot of interesting places. So check it out. 2-Bit Da Vinci put, the new moon race won't be like the first. Here's why. 12-minute long video. Definitely needs to be watched. Good stuff. Talks about, the first moon race with the United States and the Soviets was a PR, Cold War, whatever. This is different. We're not going to be tourists. We're going to stay. We're going there to mine and make fuel. We're going there to establish a presence off planet. We're going there to start the process of mankind exploring out into the solar system and becoming a multi-planetary body species. Joe Scott, Answers with Joe channel, put out the Aldrin cylinder, a conveyor belt to Mars, 16-minute long. A lot of people don't know this. Buzz Aldrin was not only an astronaut and the second man to set foot on the moon, but also an accomplished engineer whose doctorate thesis was on the intricacies of orbital mechanics and orbital rendezvous. In 1985, Buzz presented to JPL the Aldrin Cycler. This was reviewed and approved as feasible. It uses gravity assist to create a large ISS-type station that would be known as Castle that would continually cycle back and forth from Earth to Mars, orbiting picking up people and equipment from Earth and depositing them on Mars orbit for planetary insertion. This would all be accomplished with next to no fuel used. Castle would cycle between the Earth and Mars approximately every 5 months using gravity assist. Part of the impetus for this project would be to make it politician proof. After the initial cost of the build, it's quite cheap to maintain, so it would be as safe as, administrations change. The thought is that you would put up multiple cyclers that would have you would have cyclers sort of arriving at each location on regular intervals every month or two. The ship that was used in that movie that we talked about, I think 2 weeks ago, Stowaway, that was a cycler. That was an Aldrin cycler. So the idea is you send up a smaller ship called the Taxi that docks with Castle, and on that smaller ship you have people and materials that docks with the larger ship, and the larger ship just uses orbital mechanics and gravity assist to more or less for free keep flying back and forth. It costs very little to maintain. You're not using fuel. You're using orbital mechanics to just kind of stay in this loop for fairly indefinitely. Very, very cool stuff and worth checking out, and could be part of the key on how we sort of get to Mars. Like, Elon Musk has said flat out, he's planning to be able to, with Starship, sort of get to Mars in only 80 to 90 days. But that, A, costs a massive amount of fuel, and B, is only available as an option like every almost 2 years when they're at the closest point in the cycle. Whereas the Aldrin cycler method would just sort of be constantly going back and forth. And like I said, you're really not using any fuel other than the fuel that you need for the taxis to get up to rendezvous with Castle, the back and forth. It is very, very cool stuff and very eye-opening. I think you should check it out. Isaac Arthur put out a video called Alien Languages, 35 minutes long. He talks about what if, we actually said he uncovered a signal. How would we know, how do you start the process of figuring out an alien language? How do you just start from scratch? There's a lot of things where we can do now where we can break codes, and we can sort of linguistics experts you come across a language, where really, really smart guys on the planet now can take Japanese or Chinese or Russian, and even if they don't speak that, these guys are brilliant, and they can sort of figure out through context and through, sort of Rosetta Stone methods and all these other things, they can figure out sort of what it is you're talking about. But that is sort of built on a lot of assumptions that we have as a shared species, where even people from France and Japan and Italy and Iceland, as different as they are and as different as their languages are, there are sort of shared kind of biases and shared assumptions, because we're all one species living on one planet that are one type of life form. Those assumptions don't necessarily work if you're talking about the difference between a carbon-based life form and a different, silicon-based life form, or like in the movie, what was that? The movie The Arrival or The Message or whatever, the one where it's like they're octopods or whatever. Like they may septopods. They may think forward and backward. They may have different ways of expressing whatever. So very, very cool video by futurist Isaac Arthur where he talks about that in detail. We've got a trio of videos by Anton Petrov. First, paper claims discovery of mushrooms on Mars, but what are they? Spoiler alert, probably not mushrooms. I'm sure everybody's seen the pictures and seen some very salacious headlines in the last week or so where it's like, look, this looks like a mushroom. Yeah, okay, I get it. It does look like that. But he shows other pictures and it's like, here's how rocks can form in that way. Here, it could be this, it could be that, it could be all of the different possibilities. And it could be mushrooms. It literally could be some form of a life form that we've seen. But that's not, science doesn't work. Hey, look, that looks like a thing. It must be that thing. We've proved it. No, that's not how science works. Science works, you rule out all of the other explanations, and there are several other steps of things to rule out before you can jump to, hey, it's mushrooms. Could be mushrooms. We'll know in time, but it also could be very many other things. Check out that 15-minute long video where he explains what it could be, and then you'll know. Also, Anton Petrov, new observations of Venus discover interesting properties, 12 minutes long. So Venus, as opposed to Earth that has, a day that lasts a day long, 24 hours or Earth time, Venus has a very different orbital mechanics, and a one Venusian day is actually 243 Earth days long, basically 2/3 of a year. The thick atmosphere actually can vary the time of the Venusian day by as much as 20 minutes per day. Also, the part of this was picked up like observations by Parker Solar Probe. The Parker Solar Probe made observations of Venus atmosphere and ionosphere. The probe heard the same thing that Galileo, the previous satellite probe, had heard passing by Jupiter. Electrically charged gases. This allowed them to compare readings with the 1992 Venus Pioneer orbiter to make surprising discovery that the Venusian ionosphere seems to change quite dramatically based on probably the biggest sort of theory right now is based on solar activity. Super interesting. Check it out. And the last of the Anton Petrov videos for tonight is what China is building in space and why more rockets will crash, 13 minutes long. So it's projected to be, basically China is building a competitor to the ISS. They're building their own International Space Station. It's projected to be similar to the decommissioned Mir, around 1/5 the mass of the ISS. NASA has barred China from access to the ISS, so they're building their own. They've had two much smaller space stations, Tiangong-1 and Tiangong-2, that were up for 3 years and 7 years respectively. But this is a much larger station, Tiangong-3, and it will have a much more extended mission, estimated to be 10 to 15 year long mission. It's going to have an orbiting telescope that can dock with the station that is estimated to be approximately 300 times more powerful than the Hubble telescope. There will be approximately 10 more automated launches of construction to construct the station. So basically, unlike the way we did the ISS, where we sent up people and stuff and had the people build the stuff, China is going on a fully automated system where they just send up all of the pieces that sort of auto dock and like lock together like Legos to build the station, and then they're going to send up the dozen or so astronauts, Chinese astronauts that are going to live on the station for, rotating out over the years to sort of, work and do the science up there. So there's 10 more rockets they're going to launch. We don't know the mechanics and details for all of them, but we know that the next two are already confirmed to be launched under the same plan as the current mission, which have unknown debris sites, which is sort of an article that went with that. Note, the approximately 9 tons of Long March 5B, which is the rocket that the Chinese used to send up this last one, it landed in the Indian Ocean west of the Maldives. It was predicted to land in the Atlantic. The Chinese drew great criticism as the rocket traveled over many populated areas. Their last rocket actually rained debris over the continent of Africa. There's a link to the Reuters article about that. This is sort of been drawn a lot of criticism as being fairly reckless. Super exciting that the Chinese are doing this. Super bummer that they had to do this because we couldn't work with them, and now the Russians are pulling out of working with us in the ISS in the future, and it's going to be they're going to be working with the Chinese. Super uncool that they're just kind of like, we'll see where these rockets land. Maybe the Atlantic, maybe the Pacific, who knows? But interesting nonetheless. Roy, you had something on Venus?
Just a quick point. When I watched that video, he has a recording of what the probe actually listened to the ionosphere, and immediately my mind went to the FSS scanner in game because that's exactly what it sounds like. And it just, I think I'd heard you or someone else in the past talking about how when they developed the FSS scanners, like they'd done some looking into what noises actually come off of the planets and the ionospheres and stuff. And so it just triggered a memory that like this is just another example of the level of science realism in the game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That takes us to the Scott Manley video. Viewer questions, episode 5, 21 minutes long. Look, Scott Manley, I've got a huge man crush on. He's amazing. He's awesome. His videos are great, fantastic, super, super science nerd who just breaks it down. No filler, all killer. You got to watch this for yourself. But if, like, I'll give you 2 spoilers, and this will force you to click the link, because if you're anything like me, you'll be like, well, I got to see this now. Did you know that if you live in the U.S., you can actually buy yellow cake uranium from Amazon? No shit. There's an Amazon link in his video. That hurts my brain. That should not be a thing. But and a railgun on the moon. That's all I'm going to say. Railgun on the moon. Holy shit. Check out this video. That takes us to where we would have Roy Stories. I'm going to make a quick note. Roy Stories is going to be, we finished season 2, a week ago? Last week? And now Roy Stories is on a season break. It will come back in June, so sometime in the next 3 weeks to a month. Roy is currently now going over, we have like a dozen different authors that Roy is in the process of looking over their materials and selecting and making arrangements with the author to sort of secure season 3. After that will be a whole process of, recording and get the cast together to do the radio play, basically to break it all down for the season. After that will be editing. After that will be a second editing pass where the Foley artist, Monohive, will go through and do a lot of extra work. It's not easy to put together those amazing Roy stories that Roy and the author and Monohive and the whole voice cast work together as a team to put together for you. That will be coming back. I don't want you to think that we've forgotten about it. It will be back in June. I'm committing to that. I jumped way ahead. My bad. Roy, you've got your piece in real life science. Go.
No worries. I can hit this quick. So from Stanford University and the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, they reported this week that they have an experimental device that turns thoughts into text. And they've actually tested this on a man who was paralyzed. It has allowed him to basically type by thinking, and it shows up on a computer screen. He's got 95% accuracy in the typing, and it's 90 characters per minute. So it's like, for real, scary real. It's basically a sensor they've implanted on the surface of his brain. And what they had him do was imagine cursive handwriting each letter over the same spot. So it's a sort of a nuance, but it made the difference. Instead of imagining writing left to right across a page, they had him imagine writing in the same spot over and over, which for any of you that were around at the dawn of the PDA, the Palm Pilot had a language called graffiti, which was based on Jot, which was basically the same thing. You'd write your letters over and over on the same piece of the touchpad. Anyway, super cool stuff there. And obviously, I think a harbinger of things to come, perhaps with Neuralink and other technologies in the future.
Beautiful. Awesome. That takes us to our discussion topics. Our first one is going to be how David Braben has changed the face of gaming. So we talked about the video from Kim earlier that is, like I said, something that everybody needs to see. But the fact of the matter is, let me sum it up. In 1984, David Braben and Ian Bell broke the entire paradigm of gaming by creating an open world sandbox when everyone else was focused on 3 lives. You get an extra live at 10,000 points, 10-minute long game experience, and absolutely, if you do everything perfect, you'll beat the game in whatever, less than an hour tops. They were like, hey, how about we don't have a way to win the game? You just go until you're done. You're bored with it. You can go for weeks. You can go for months. How about we don't have 3 lives? You have 1 life. You live until you die, and then you're done. How about you don't have a score and an extra whatever? You just have money is your score, and you earn until, you know, because you want to spend your score to buy stuff. Change the whole sort of back in 1984. Right now, everything that I'm telling you there just sounds like, yeah, duh, no brainer. That's, you make a good game. You don't want to do something stupid. Everything that I'm telling you, they took it to publishers who said, you can't do that. That's not a game. Video games, you have to have, you know, you put in a quarter and then you play for 10 minutes and you run out your lives and then you put in another quarter. Like, that's how games work. This was entirely a whole different thing. They changed the face of gaming. Now, I definitely understand that lately there's been a decent amount of sort of criticism. I've heard from, you know, oh, David Braben this and David Braben that. He's rich. He's sold out. He doesn't care about Elite anymore. He's focused on other stuff. He's this, he's that. I disagree. And let me point out something. It's not just that this guy did something amazing back in 1984, and that's why you should follow him for forever. Let's talk about Elite Dangerous as a game. All right. Now, sure, Elite Dangerous is, I think, a game with the greatest potential ever. And yes, you can point all day long to nitpicks of, I don't like this, I don't like that. I wish this was better, I wish that was better. We all can. Yeah? But Elite Dangerous is the first game that I can say in my entire life that I have played that is an open world, or in this case, Galaxy MMO, that features billions of maps or zones, such that a new player starting right now in Elite legitimately can find a zone, can find a thing that nobody has ever found before 8 years into the game. Now, admittedly, there are some aspects of this that can seem shallow unless content is regularly placed in these zones. Yes, I think that Frontier can do a better job of putting in more sort of proc gen and hand stuff and whatever in different places. I think that if you look back to 2016, 2017, there was a golden age of Elite where people were legitimately finding Thargoid structures and Guardian structures and oh, there's a weird thing here that's part of a weird storyline, whatever. And yes, that requires constant sort of work to keep populating the galaxy with shit to find. But going back to my original premise here of what I said on this point, if you play World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14 or what Fallout or name your MMO here, Black Desert Online, if you play any of these games, you can absolutely be the first person to see a zone. You could be the first person to see a tree, to see a thing, right? If you play in the alpha or the beta or whatever it is that they have, and you're the first one. But by the time it gets released, much less 8 years later, there's not a single tree, a single rock, a single monster, a single anything you're going to see that you're the first person to see. Elite has that. Now, yes, there's definitely things to pick and say, this should change, that should change. But in 2 points, what they did in 1984 to change the whole sort of gaming structure and put it on its head, and the fact that this is the first game that I can think of, and please in the chat, mention if there's any that you can think of where you can go to a zone 8 years later that no one has seen. I think this is a situation where it's like, yeah, for all their flaws, and everybody has flaws and everybody fails sometimes. If I have to back somebody and say, I put my money on that guy, David Braben's my guy. Ride or die. Tweaked, hop in.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, my recent frustrations aside, I don't have almost 4,000 hours in this game for no reason. I mean, Elite Dangerous, and I've said it on this show before, is the most unique and intricately complicated game with all of its systems working together in existence, to my knowledge. I've never played it. I've been playing video games since the days of Space Invaders and Pac-Man, and I have never found a game even that comes close to what Elite Dangerous is doing right now. Odyssey aside, what it's doing right now in the live game. The freedom to go anywhere in 4 billion stars in the actual galaxy, the flight models of the ships, the way you can, the engineering is basically customizing. So you can endlessly customize the ships, and every little change you make doing your engineering changes the way the ship feels when you fly it. Every little detail of this game just makes it so amazing that it's almost an addiction for me. I can't go a couple days without flying my ships, finding something to do.
Hell yeah.
There's nothing else like it, and there never has been. And when Elite came out in 1984, I mean, come on, guys, that was Donkey Kong. We were playing side scrollers. We hadn't even gotten into any real MMOs. I mean, I think around that time, the closest thing I could think of would have been, what was it, Sid Meier's Pirates, where you were going around in the ocean doing piratey type things. That was kind of cool, but it still wasn't to the level of what Elite was even then.
That was after Sid Meier's too. That was after Elite too, because Elite, you're talking about 1984. Yeah. Sid Meier's was on the fucking Amiga 500 and all later. Yeah.
That's what I mean. I mean, just what he did in 84 was mind blowing. I don't think people give him enough credit for that. And to that point, I don't think Frontier gets enough credit for what they've created with Elite Dangerous. I mean, it's just point another game. You go to No Man's Sky, it doesn't scratch the same itch. It's not as detailed. I obviously have not been able to go to Star Citizen, but I've read a lot about it. It's not as open. It's not as expansive. It's not as detailed. Elite Dangerous is unique, and it's not matched. And I don't know of anybody that's matching it anytime soon.
Wolf, hop in on this.
Honestly, everything that Tweak said, I completely agree with and echo. Like, I don't always find myself completely agreeing with him, but he's dead on.
Roy?
I had fun thinking about this one. I think this is a really fun topic because, I mean, I had a Commodore 64 back in the early 80s, and I think I'm of a vintage that maybe is shared by a certain portion of our audience. One of the first things I did was to like what Tweaked was just saying. I went back and looked, like, what games in that exact year or within that time frame was I playing? And some of these might ring a bell for some of our audience. Games like Raid on Bungling Bay, Archon 2, One-on-One, Julius Erving and Larry Bird, Impossible Mission,
Yeah.
The Goonies, Epic Summer Games 2, Space Taxi, Flight Simulator 2. Flight Simulator 2 was still miles and miles away from Elite. Maybe the closest thing from the sense of at least you could fly something. It had 4 cities, which were just some blocks on the ground, and 80 airports, which were some lines on the ground. None of that procedural, all had to be hand done. And that was it. That was the game. There wasn't any more to it like there is in Elite. Elite 1984 included basically a precursor to what we now call BGS, with its procedurally generated political systems, system danger levels, dynamic trading markets. The game also came with a novel, which I don't remember any of these other games coming with, The Dark Wheel, for the creation of like world building and headcanon, which previously I'd only ever seen in movies. It was one of the first games where the game mechanics had reasons for their existence. I found a great quote it's actually from the Elite Fandom Wiki. Just a couple sentences here. It says, with no score, what was the purpose? The Thatcherite years of the 1980s provided the answer: money. But money isn't a score. You can spend money. On what? On upgrades. So your ship had to be inferior to start with. What would be the purpose of upgrading your ship? To defeat other vessels. Why would those other vessels attack you? Because you carried a cargo. So trading was required alongside piracy. So something that we take for granted today in this game and hundreds of others, Elite was the first game with multiple independent game loops or interdependent game loops. It's been credited as being a major influence in every open world game that has come since across all genres. Even the former creative director of Grand Theft Auto referred to their game as basically Elite in a city. And the last one here, Elite holds the Guinness World Record for being the longest running space simulation in history.
Yeah, I mean, To the thing that Tweak said, I don't think there would be a Sid Meier's Pirates without Elite. I don't think there would be a Civilization. Game developers were having ideas of stuff to do, but game publishers were saying, if you don't have a little Mario that's jumping up the ladder and you get an extra guy at 10,000 points and he's got to be able to land on, stomp on Donkey Kong's head and win, we don't want to do it. Like, all of these other things that they were like, we're going to veer off to the left and right and whatever. It's easy to overlook the fact that none of that exists without Elite. MALTMEISTER, hop in on this, please.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything people are saying here. Elite was one of the first games that made me believe that gaming had a real future. I've always been into games. It was a kind of escapism for me. Some of you know my past, and it was hard. So games was one of the ways I kind of just got time to myself, got to think about, life and things. But Elite was the first game I really got hooked on. I'd played the racing games, or Frogger, where you go left, right. They weren't really challenging or anything though. Elite, it brought a whole new world to you. It was completely different. I remember the first one. I didn't play it as much as Frontier, I will admit that, but I'm pretty sure it, like 3D graphics and stuff, it was almost unheard of back then, well, kind of virtual, you know what I mean? It was something that was just, I was in awe of then. I'm pretty sure you guys heard me earlier on when I talked about BRABEN and like what a guy I thought he was in the gaming industry. It's the first time I've actually spoke about him in that way, but it's so true. He's an innovator. He's made a game that has changed the future and the past of gaming. You're so right, Kai. We wouldn't be where we are without this game, not at all. And because of Elite, I might not be where I am, honestly. It gave me an escape.
Yeah.
Many hours of escape.
Absolutely. And let's not lose sight of the fact that if it wasn't for Elite, you wouldn't have Privateer, you wouldn't have Wing Commander, you wouldn't have Star Citizen. I know it's so popular. I don't get it at all. I never will. I'll rail against it every chance I get. It's so popular for Elite players to shit on Star Citizen. It's so popular for Star Citizen players to shit on Elite. I don't get it, man. They're both awesome space games. They both have a ton of potential. They're both a long way from where they want to be in the end. Love them both, whatever. I want to give a huge salute. Everybody raise your glass to Deep Purple Beard, who's raiding with a party of people.
Bluebeard.
Why did I say Deep Purple? I'm drunk.
Thinking of the band.
Deep Bluebeard, welcome, and all of the people, welcome. We get together. This is a thing where you get together at the pub and talk about Elite with your friends. This is what we do every Friday night. So welcome. Yeah, but you're exactly right, MALTMEISTER, as far as like just the I could hear the love in your voice for the stuff that David Braben gave us. And there are times where it's going to be awesome, and there are times where it's going to be frustrating because David Braben is human, and the game, the company, Frontier, they're human, and they have times where they do amazing stuff, and they have times where they screw up. But I'm along for the ride, and I hope you are as well. All right, that takes us to our next topic, which is, let's see. How to once and for all deal with ganking in Elite. So ganking or griefing or any version of player killing is a continuous issue in any MMO. It's often discussed in Elite with participants on both sides of various debates or discussions talking past each other, sort of ignoring different things. People that are on the Care Bear side are like, hey, this and that and the other, and sort of ignore the fact that the PvP community has like a right to want to do stuff. They're kind of bored because they don't have enough stuff to do. And people on the killing, griefing, ganking, asshole, whatever, however you want to name it. So, and just for the record, I've had people before say like, "Oh, you say Care Bear, that's pejorative." I'm a Care Bear in this game. I don't enjoy hunting other players in this game. I enjoy doing PvE content in Elite. I would do PvP content only if it's like sort of prearranged and it's like, okay, everybody's down with it, like CQC and this, that, and the other. I don't think Care Bear is a bad term, so I'm sorry if that offends people. I don't mean it in a offensive way. I am a proud Care Bear. I enjoy this game for the PvE content side of it. So sorry, just that disclaimer. But people on both sides sort of talk past each other. And this is not at all unique to Elite. Just last week, Talking in Stations, which is the premier podcast for EVE, the game which I've played for years and enjoyed, they did a show entitled Calm Down, Griefer. It's linked below in the show notes. But unlike other games, Elite has the tools built into it to completely neutralize this problem. Obviously, it's easy just to play in solo or private group, but that's not necessarily, needed by any means. With just about any ship, even a stock small ship, a savvy player can almost always evade being player killed. The problem is that the players most likely to be player killed are the very ones who do not have access to the information to avoid getting player killed. These same players are also more likely to be put off by the experience and either A, go into solo mode, or B, leave the game altogether. Now, either way, they're deprived of some of the joy of being in sort of open mode of the game, and we're deprived of their presence in the community, as in they're not buying stuff, so that's money lost, revenue lost for the game that could make it better for all of us. But also, they're not interacting with people if they're in solo mode, which sort of deprives us of a more rich experience. I don't want this game to feel like a ghost town. I want this game to feel alive and vibrant. I want more and more and more players. Now, various player groups offer classes on how to evade a PK, but again, the people who most need this information are the ones that don't know to look for it. They don't know about the cult of the murder goose. They don't know, Loose Screws is doing some kind of evade, ganking, whatever. They don't know about the Paladin Consortium that does their class or this group or that group or all these other groups. To me, I think the obvious answer is for FDev to actually incorporate this as an aspect of the new player onboarding experience, the tutorial programs, the whatever. I think there should be some sort of a video, and Frontier can reach out to the player community and say like, hey, the Paladin Consortium, Cult of the Murder Goose, Sinbad, I think, does one, Loose Screws, this group, that group, these dozen groups. Put together stuff. We're going to make a short video or whatever that we're going to, put out as a resource that there's a link in the game. People can see the video. It doesn't matter what platform they play on. We put it through YouTube, whatever. And it's like, okay, there'll be a process as part of the tutorial where it's like, A, see this video, whatever. And B, here are some real practical sort of experiences where there's a tutorial sort of module or whatever that shows this stuff. And what do I mean that they need to show? Number one, explain the aspects of a player kill, as well as various game modes and instancing. Number two, teach the new players situational awareness and NPC versus PC icons. So just know what's up with that. Number three, demonstrate the difference of an NPC versus PC interdictions. If you get interdicted by an NPC, my grandma can win that. But if you get interdicted by a player, that's a whole way harder thing. Like the thing shifts entirely. The balance shifts, and the PC, the other player's most likely going to win. They need to teach new players to submit to interdictions and take evasive maneuvers while explaining the various aspects of low wake versus high wake and how to execute each. Depending on the math of what you're doing, maybe you just have to get to a certain location. You might want a low wake. Other situations you want to bug out in high wake, whatever. teach new players about various tools used by the player killers, i.e. mass locking, or grom bombs, or various other things, so that players can be armed with the knowledge. New players, most people that are listening to this show, you already know this stuff, so you're fine. But the problem is the brand new players that are going to get turned off and go and leave. We need to help them know how to protect themselves, because the fact of the matter is if most SEALs, brand new players in their little starter sideties, knew what we know, they would evade. I go to CG Systems and troll gankers all day long, laughing at them drunk in chat and mocking them mercilessly. So many of them hate me because I just have fun trolling the fuck out of them. I'll go in there and I'll jump in and get interdicted and be in an instance with 4 or 5 players and get out. Because if you know what you're doing, this is not about me being skilled. This is just knowing basic evasion techniques. If new players knew this, then what would happen is, number one, the gankers would get bored and move on to something else to do, either go grief people in another game or go do something else in this game. And I for the record, I put up a sort of thread saying, hey, Frontier, you need to give the PvP community other fun things to do, because if you give them something to do, maybe a lot of them will stop griefing and only just the most 100% dedicated dickheads will continue to do that. And then we can figure out how to handle that with a crime and punishment system. But Frontier seems reluctant to do that, in which case, all right, let's at least make sure that all of the noobs have the information to survive. Because if 9 out of 10 SEAL clubbing incidents end with the guy getting away and the griefer getting pissed off and frustrated, maybe they'll move on to something else. So, yeah. All right, let's start off with, let's see. Who do we have here? Tweaked, hop in.
Yeah, I'm not sure that a tutorial would do the trick, because most new players don't really pay a lot of attention to the tutorials per se, and this would have to be a very intricate tutorial, because it's probably a 4, 5, 6 steps to actually get good at escaping like that. It's not overly complicated, but knowing how to set your hotkeys and all that kind of stuff, it would be good to have it there, because people would they'd have a way to look at it. But if only there was a way to get new players. I mean, new players don't even know that all these content creators are out here. They don't know about Elite Week and Loose Screws and Lave Radio and Flight Assist and Boss
Cult
Lady
of the
and
Murder
Jez
Goose and the Paladin
right,
Consortium,
exactly.
people that put on these symposiums, yeah.
That's right. They don't know about all this stuff. So how do we get that information out there to them? That has been really the question for a long time. I don't know that it's on. I'm kind of torn. Part of me says a tutorial can't hurt, but part of me also thinks that's kind of our jobs as veteran commanders in the game to go to Desiat and to go to these places and not only defend them when it starts to happening, but to try to talk to them and teach them what we know and maybe recruit them and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of part of the game too. So I just don't know that a tutorial would be the end of it all, but I don't think it would hurt. That's for sure.
Right on, Roy.
It's funny, but this is the kind of thing that actually I think the older versions of Elite that came with manuals could solve for easier. I mean, for me, some of those older games I mentioned, the ones that came after Elite 1984, more and more came with books, and that was half the fun, was reading the book and the stories in the book. And maybe the analogy today would be having a video or some videos that are produced by Frontier to be watched by new players of Elite, where
Or a
they could at
manual.
least be demonstrating some of this stuff, or have the community help make them, or whatever. But I agree that the tutorial in and of itself, it may be too complex, or they may not want to put the effort into that tool when maybe they could make a video that everybody it's almost like
What?
a hunter safety video. Like there's some activities in real life that you don't let people go do until they've sat through a training class.
How about
And it doesn't just have to be the in-game tutorial.
how about I throw it to you this way? What if Frontier were to put out a free manual, literally a free manual for every person that purchases Elite that says, here's 20 pages or 30 pages of like information to learn. Here is awesome free, like awesome art from the SPVFA or from Stellar Screenshots or whatever. Here is 3 or 4 or 6 videos on this. Here are, you know, a very cool, like, hey, destinations in Elite, and have an INRA base, have a Thargoid site, have a Guardian site, have a whatever. That could be an amazing, like, if
You know where they can put those is in the launcher.
yes, yes, and it's here, and here is weekly destinations, new places to see, new this, new that. Here's a link, here's the video, and here's the location. Go out there and find it. And also, while you're at it, here's how you learn how to make griefers cry, because player killers have absolutely next to no chance of actually killing you if you know what the hell you're doing. Malt, hop in on this.
Yeah, to back up Tweaked with what he was saying, I think the community should take a little responsibility, might be the wrong word, because you're not responsible for, but to help out the new players, you know, the trick is, how do you reach the new players? Not all of them will come to Twitch or YouTube to seek help. So how do we reach these guys who need help? But I'm one of these people who are very community focused, and I think we should try and find a way to reach these guys and keep them in the game, because I know some of the people get disheartened when things like ganking happens. Elite does have multiple modes, like solo, private, so you can play with friends, alone, but wouldn't it be great if everyone could just play online, the whole community, and you know, you could help each other and stuff, and I think that would be awesome. It's not likely, I get that, but it would be awesome.
But here's the thing, it is likely. I mean, it's not likely to be 100% successful, but if you make the effort, it's 100% likely to be a small percent successful. It's, you know, and the higher percent up you go, the less percent likely it is to be. But what if 20%, 40%, 50%, whatever, we grow the online open community over time, and it snowballs, and it's like, it's down to us to make the change. It's that fucking Michael Jackson song, you know, look at the man in the mirror, let's make a change, let's make it happen. Wolf, get in on this.
This gets back into the whole discussion that we had when we were on System Chat with Boss Lady B about how the game itself has got a learning cliff that you have to climb up, and this is one of those steps that's in that cliff. And it would be really awesome, like Roy was saying, is if information for how to do some of these things, like how, you know, basic tactics, for one, not getting caught by somebody who wants to rip you out, first of all. 2, once that happens, calm down, here's what you got to do, and you notionally be perfectly fine. But it needs to be presented in a way that is fundamentally eye-catching and easy for somebody completely new to see and do, because I'll readily admit, when I first started playing the game, I didn't do all the training missions. Who did all of them? Come on.
Most people don't. We have a lot of new players in OPIX, and a good portion of them do 1 or 2 of them, and then they accidentally end up out of the starter system and they're into the game. So yeah, you're not alone there.
The trick is to put out a product that has enough candy that it gets people to sort of be tricked into eating their vegetables. You put out a product that has some awesome SPVFA videos and pictures and stuff, and people go, "Ooh, this is cool," and is on the launcher and people can click and like save their save their place. Like, oh, there's 50 steps to this. I'm on step 12. Ooh, step 3 is an awesome. Oh, look at that video. I want to see that. What is that? Is that an alien? They call that a Thargoid? Ooh, like you tease them with the candy and you give them the information. And then when they get in contact with an asshole who just, I'm an FDL nerd that wants to kill somebody in a fucking, Sidewinder, then the guy goes like, hi, Wake, fuck you, bye-bye. And, submit to your interdiction, hi, Wake out, bye. And then, now what? You got nothing. Now you're frustrated. Now you move on to either A, griefing people in another game, or B, finding a non-griefer activity to do in this game. Either which way, I'm happy because you've stopped being an asshole.
The thing about submit and high wake, that nugget is the most powerful bit of the whole training, I think. And you could even put that on one of those hollow posters at the station. Like you could boil it down into some kind of public awareness slogan and make it that simple.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. All right.
Calm and high wake on.
Yes. All right. That takes us, we're way late, so we're going to move on to the next thing, which is crazy speculative Odyssey predictions. Right off the bat, I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna say number one, I think we're gonna have new stuff in both Thargoid and Guardian storyline stuff. Not big at first, like eventually the story's gonna grow over time. But right off the bat, I think for the Guardians, we're going to have a new type of Guardian site. And I think that new type of Guardian site is going to be, how right now in your SRV, you shoot the drones, which are the little flying weird, fly to the navigator looking drones that shoot at you. I think now that we're able to get out on foot, we're going to have some panels that we can cut to get into some doors. It's not going to be crazy like, oh, there's a whole underground city. I think to start, there's going to be new Guardian sites that have basically, the Terminator, when you melt off the skin and you got underneath it, you've got a little sort of humanoid walking around all metal, RoboCop looking fucking, thing. I think there's going to be a new Guardian type of site that's going to have an unknown humanoid type of, RoboCop-ish thing that you pew, that you FPS pew. And it's going to have just the teaser of, here's the next thing. Here's new stuff new materials you can gather. And eventually 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, it's going to lead to sort of new weapons, new engineering, new something. So for the Guardians, I think new Guardian site, couple of panels you can open, just a little bit get into, stuff you can do, and new on foot drone, RoboCop dudes that you can pew against. For the Thargoids, my crazy prediction is going to be, I think new, like some explanation, some more info that lets you know that those big Thargoid sites that we see at different areas are actually sort of crashed Thargoid megaships. So maybe, some kind of, here's a module that's showing up. Here's hardpoints, or here's thrusters, or here's an SD, or here's a shield, or here's a something. Like as you're walking around in those Thargoid megastructures, some references to things that let you know this is not just like a building. This is like a big ship that crashed 1 billion years ago and is like half overgrown underground, whatever. Yeah. So, and then they said, other stuff, predictions, crazy predictions. New ships. Don't think so. New SRVs. Not at launch. Maybe a year from now. new sort of, for sure, SRVs, yes, a year from now, like time down the road, yes. I don't think people have said like, oh, FPS Thargoids. Not at launch. Don't think so. I think we're going to see the story progress with little teasers at the sites. Then 3 to 6 to 9 months from now, maybe some new Thargoid megaships, some new big invasions, some new storylines, some new areas of Coalsack, or not Coalsack, Coal 70 sector that are sort of unlocked that you can go into and you can see stuff. 6 months, a year and a half, something from now, we're going to see Thargoids on foot. I feel it. But this is not a thing that you get immediately. This is a sort of spectrum that works its way through, a storyline, a through line that goes. And I very, very, very much hope, because Frontier is committed to continuing the story to 2022. That's only 6 months from now. I very much hope that after the 2022 cycle that we're on now, happens, that they're going to be like, okay, and here's the 2022 to 2024 cycle. I hope that they've learned their lesson and they don't let it lie dormant. Frontier are also very famous for there's always one extra little surprise. I think that surprise is going to be sort of a suit thing or a gun thing or an on-foot equipment thing of some type of some kind. I could be wrong. I think SRVs aren't coming for 6 to 9 months, but they are coming for sure in 6 to 9 months. But I think the surprise thing, there is a surprise thing. I don't know what it is, but I know that there is a thing because they always do that. I think the surprise thing is going to be an on-foot gear thing of some kind, somehow, some way. We'll see. Let's start with Roy. Predictions, crazy predictions, go.
Yeah, so you asked for crazy, speculative. I really leaned into the crazy, so it's time to get on the tinfoil hats. I'm going to predict that post-Odyssey launch, when the Thargoids really attack in force, like, big motherships, like massive invasion, the Dark Wheel awakens and powers up Raxxla, which is a gateway to another galaxy, not for us to go through, but for a new race to come in and help us in the war.
I'm excited.
That and more bookmarks.
Oh, God, more bookmarks.
I know the bookmark thing is probably too crazy, but I can dream.
It's the smallest thing, and they haven't given it to us for forever. It makes my heart hurt. Tweaked.
Yeah, I struggle with this one, honestly. I mean, if I'm talking post-Odyssey launch, then I'm thinking more different atmospheric landing types and maybe some ship interiors and some mining on the ground and things filled in, things added in. At launch, I think for the most part, we've seen it. I'll be curious to see what you guys get next week. I honestly will, but I'd be surprised if I'm surprised, I guess I would say.
Oh, there's going to be something. One thing.
Yeah, if I had to take one thing, and I think FDev is just like when they did the fleet carrier pricing in the alpha, and it was way super high, and they lowered it again. And I said last week they could do the same thing with the mat grind for the suits and everything. What if when you guys get Odyssey next Wednesday or Thursday or whenever the servers come back up for us, what if it's no longer a fade to black when you get out of your ship? What if now you walk up the ramp to get in?
Oof. Okay. Ship interiors, I guarantee, not really guarantee because I don't, whatever, but I guarantee you we get that in 2 years or less, but not right away. The fade to black thing, that would be so awesome. There's going to be one surprise of some kind because Frontier loves to do that, but yeah. Wolf.
I'm gonna look ahead past launch. Give it some time for everything to work its way out, then to bring stuff in. I want to see, and I'm gonna try and not do a spoiler alert on The Expanse. Season 4, Episode 7, with the Barba Piccola and the Rocinante in orbit of that planet, and what needed to be done with the situation happening. How awesome would an EVA mission be to get that set up logistically and then help in that way?
Dude.
Like that's multiple steps, multiple things you got to get right, and if you get it wrong, you lost.
Jesus, you're setting yourself up for heartache with that. That is multiple levels. You're talking about tethering, EVA, railgun. There's so many things there. I want all of that in 2 to 3 to 5 years, but like, ooh, that's a lot right now. I think maybe the fact that they might lower the needs of fucking gathering materials or not do pooled materials for the Odyssey materials, like lower expectations just a little bit. It's gonna be great overall, but like you're saying, like, hey, everybody gets free Coke and blowjobs on day one, like that's setting expectations.
No. This
high.
this is not a day one thing.
Oh,
This
okay.
Day 3,953.
Yes.
One that they could do earlier. We actually were having this discussion on Discord the other night. So we've got railguns, and you watch in one of the early episodes of The Expanse what a railgun can do. Well, what if with your shields down, it did exactly that, and it just happened to go through the cargo hold, and you would lose cargo?
Ouch. But yeah, I dig it. Malt.
So I had one of the things that have been talked about a lot with Odyssey is Guardian content, and a lot of the storyline has been heading that way too. And it is funny because I was thinking along these lines. Who's the enemy? Like, we don't hear much about Guardian. Sorry, I said Guardian before. Thargoid content. I can't remember what I said. We've been hearing a lot of Thargoid stuff recently, and I was thinking we don't hear a lot about Guardian. Okay, we know the Lord. They've gone and all this, but surely there's more to come. And I saw in the Twitch chat, other people are thinking the same way as me. There's Guardian structures, and they've got things that we've not explored yet. Maybe this could come with Odyssey launch. What do you guys think?
They've got big ass blast doors that look like if I could just cut a panel and then use my energy link to gas it up and zip, open that door, maybe there's something in that room.
And guess what, Kai? What items do we have access to now that Odyssey is released?
Hell yes.
We have things to cut doors open, don't we?
We do.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I don't think those types of storylines are going to be at launch. I would be surprised if you got interesting on foot Guardian things to do or on foot Thargoid things to do before console got Odyssey. Because if for example, I saw a lot of people in Discord this week thinking that this week's bug stories, the Thargoids are attacking and it's pushing the story towards something for Odyssey, and I would be stunned if FDev were so shallow that they forced the story into a position where a portion of their community can't take place in. They can't play with it.
No.
So I really wouldn't think any of that kind of stuff would be around for at least 6 to 9 months.
I think you're 100% right and 100% wrong at the same time. I think that the Thargoids attacking right now on the eve of Odyssey drop is absolutely tied towards Thargoid FPS, absolutely tied towards advancing the Thargoid storyline, absolutely tied towards all kinds of stuff. But you're absolutely right that here's the teaser. In 3 to 6 months, when we have the console brethren with us and we're all together as one, we're gonna march into the new thing. This is like when there's a new teaser trailer for The Mandalorian season 3 or whatever, where they show 12 seconds of something, bring up the logo, and then you're like, oh, in 6 months my boner is gonna be so huge for this. This is just the teaser. And I think you're absolutely right that we're going to move forward together all as one on the reconciliation of the different platforms.
I agree.
All right.
Isn't that the official Odyssey launch though? When the consoles get it, to be honest, that's how I see it anyway.
Yes,
Yeah,
Odyssey
that's
launches.
what everybody says, and I see why everybody says that, but that's not FDev's stance. That's not FDev's stance.
They haven't.
Yeah.
They haven't. Yeah, you're right. But honestly, for me, Odyssey launches when we're all together in it. Until then, this is testing period. They can call it whatever they need. They got shareholders and whatever. And here's the thing. I feel like to a certain extent, Frontier let's be honest, Frontier got fucked over by COVID. Frontier got fucked over by I think, so like Elon Musk with different programs or whatever, they took big swings, and I think they somehow took a big miss. I don't know what it is. It's probably smart on them to never tell us, whatever. It hurts my heart a little bit. I'd like to know, but whatever. I don't need to be that nosy. They took a big swing and a miss on something. I don't know what it was, but it was on something. I would love to see them pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and march forward. And it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, you took a loss somewhere. This is human nature. We all fail sometimes. But I respect the fuck out of the guy that gets up, dusts himself off, and gets back to it. And this is the time for them to do that. And you know how they could do it?
The trick is they have, if that's the case, then when it releases next week, to the point when it comes out in the fall for us on console, we better see some changes. If it releases next week and the same thing releases in 6 months, then no, then that was not the case. So.
I believe that we will see. I believe that what we see next week is going to be underwhelming. What we see in 6 to 9 months, whatever, on unified release of everything is going to be a vastly different product with all kinds of extra benefits to it that the PC players will enjoy and the console players will enjoy all together. I really do. And we'll see. You're right. And the proof is going to be in the pudding. It's a matter of you can talk the talk, but you have to put out something. So we'll see what it is. And let's all hope for the best. And let's all remember the fact that this is a guy that's already changed the face of gaming twice that we've seen. And if I got to put my money on one guy to do it a third time, this is the guy I put my money on. All right. The last thing. There were leaks. There were big leaks this week. Yada, yada, whatever. Obsidian talked about it. Exigeous leaked names of stuff and all kinds of stuff. So there are 9 new engineers that are going to be out in Odyssey. They are Domino Green, Hero Ferrari, Judena Varro, Kit Fowler, Ogden Geiger, Tara Velasquez, Uma Laszlo, Wellington Beck, and Yarden Bond. I've known those names for months now, but I didn't say anything because we don't comment on leaks. When I get leaks that are out to me that are data mines or whatever, we don't comment on them. But when Exigeous is putting out a video, or Yamix is putting out a video, or Obsidian is putting out a video, and they're naming stuff, well, now it's open fair. We can all talk about it. There's the 9 new engineers that you're getting. They're all going to be with gear, FPS gear. So they're going to be for your suits and your guns. They're not for your ships. They're not for your SRVs at this time. Some of them, for sure, are going to be in the bubble. I would think 2 to 3 of them are going to be in Colonia. We'll have to see how that plays out. There's definitely going to be reasons to go back and forth. What else was in that big, leak video from this week? Well, they talked about Thargoid FPS. I don't buy it, not for 6 to 9 months. I mean, yes, 100% I buy it that it's coming in the future, but not on May 19th. We'll see. 2 new SRV types. We talked about it over a month ago on this show. It's actually 3 new SRV types. And I don't think that we're getting them for a couple of months. Probably not until after Odyssey releases on console. And even then, maybe a couple of months after. But whatever. New damage types. They're talking about like radiation damage. We've already seen fire damage. That's for sure a thing. Radiation damage and this damage and that damage. Okay, we'll see it when we see it. 2 new types of ships. The Panther Clipper and the Mamba Light. Spoiler alert. I've known about these for months. Both of these, Panther Light and Panther Clipper and Mamba Light, have been in the code base. There have been references to them for years in the code of Elite. Maybe they're coming. Maybe they're products that were discontinued or they decided against years ago. These, as far as it coming on Odyssey launch, nope. Art said flat out less than a month ago, no new ships are planned at this time. It would be beyond reckless for him to just boldface lie like that. That would be a stupid thing to do. I don't think that he did that. New FPS Thargoid? Yes, 100% I believe it. About a year from now. Not right now. New Guardian stuff? 100%. I just told you my prediction is we're getting a new Thargoid site. Or not new Thargoid site. We're getting a new Guardian site with stuff. We're getting a new Thargoid, we're getting upgrades or updates to both of the types of sites. I don't think they're going to be massive. I don't think you're going to cut open a panel and get to a whole underground city and find all kinds of stuff. I think people need to chill out. I think we're going to get just a little teaser. You're going to cut open a panel and get to a room, and that room is going to give you a teaser of what's to come. Big stuff on that front. I think Frontier would be absolutely stupid and reckless to do until they reunify console players with the PC players. I think we all need to enjoy that together. If the story were to take massive left and right turns and go crazy, crazy super on the FPS Odyssey side, when so many of our players, so many of our brothers and sisters are locked out of it, that would be reckless. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to tease it. They're going to give us a little, ooh, here's a little something, something just to whet your appetite. And when we're all together, we'll really move with this forward. For now, we're getting pretty stuff to look at. We're getting some other, like, we got enough to hold us over. And the big stuff, story-wise, is going to come when we're all together. Yeah. All right. Does anybody have anything they want to hop in on the leak stuff real quick before we close this out? Anybody, speak up now.
I'm good.
Well, I mean, we've seen a lot of this leak stuff before. We've had pictures of the on-foot Thargoids and things like that. So
years ago.
I believe they're coming, but when they come, who knows?
Okay. All right. I feel like we got that pretty much covered. State of the game, we told you we're going to do after, we'll probably have a state of the game next week, and it'll be preliminary. Maybe we'll hold off for another week even after that, just because first couple of days releasing stuff, it's going to be buggy as hell because it's an MMO. Every MMO ever is buggy as hell. If you think May 19th you're going to hop into the game and have a smooth experience and you're going to write a letter to your congressman if you don't, spoiler alert, you're bound to be fucking disappointed. Relax. It's an MMO. The first week is buggy as shit. That's always that way. Just live with it. If you can't,
I mean,
like, go log into fucking Mass Effect and play it and have fun for a week, and then come back to, 2-3 days after May 19th. You should have a fairly stable-ish experience. But the next month and a half minimum of Elite Dangerous is going to be hot fixes and patches and whatever. Not because Frontier is incompetent, not because they're lazy or stupid or evil or want to hurt your feelings, but because MMOs are hard. This is a thing that grown-ups should understand. You can either get new shit and deal with the pain of the growing pains of implementing it, or you can not have new shit. Me personally, I vote for new shit. I'll deal with the growing pains. I'm sorry, you were going to say, Tweak? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, you're absolutely right. In Elite Dangerous, the number one rule of Elite is don't fly without a rebuy. But not too far behind that is don't play on patch day. That's been a long and steady rule, and this is the Goliath of all DLCs that's ever been created, period, in game history, really. That's going to try to be put in with all these other interacting systems with the BGS and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just don't play on patch day. Don't be surprised when the server has some issues for a day or 2 or 3. So
back up your keybinds.
We'll get it right.
Back up your keybinds. Back up your everything. MALTMEISTER.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, how often do you see a game? It's pretty much changing genres here. it's not often this happens. You're going from a space-based game to an FPS game. That's pretty much what we're going to here. If you're expecting this to be smooth, you're on the wrong bus, or whatever your expression is where you're from. Honestly, give it time. I'm sure they're going to get it right eventually.
And you're expecting a major MMO launch in a time where everyone is working from home. That right there, I don't care if you're releasing Hello Kitty Island Adventure. It's going to be a shit show the first week. Expect it. Relax. Yes, shit's going to be weird. Yes, all my ships are gone. All my money's gone. My character is deleted. Okay? Put it a ticket, wait 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. They'll fix it. Everybody just chill. Deep breaths. Play some Mass Effect. Play some Star Citizen. Play some No Man's Sky. Play Elite when you can. Know that the product you're going to get on May 19th may frustrate you, but the product you're going to get May 25th is going to be semi-decent, and July is going to be, whoa, wow, 5, 6 different fucking hot fixes, and shit's running all right. This is cool. We're back to where we were, and shit is prettier. And the product you're going to get October, November, December, come unification of all of the different platforms, is going to have tons of different things that are fixed and better, and dude, you're not paying for the month. You're not paying by month. So yes, it's human nature to be frustrated. But let's all take a deep breath. Let's be grown-ups. And let's, keep calm and carry on. That's what the British do, yeah? Let's do that. All right. It's time to say goodnight to the beautiful people. Wolf, say goodnight to the beautiful people.
I hope everybody had an amazing evening sitting around drinking with us and talking all things Elite.
Hell yeah. Tweaked.
I hope everybody did have a good time and maybe learned a few things or vented some frustrations. Don't get me wrong, guys. I love this game. I'm just in a weird place right now with not a lot to do for the next 6 months or so. But I'm excited to watch all you guys get it. I hope it works well, and I will be glued to the screens next week. With that, Shazbok, Nanu Nanu.
MALTMEISTER.
Good night, beautiful people. Also, beautiful people, say goodnight to the stream team here, especially you guys in Europe and other time zones that are up late like myself. It's awesome to see everyone here. It's a testament to the stream, as I was telling everyone earlier, and to the work they do here. And good night, beautiful people.
And I'm going to say, be excellent to each other. Donate to Operation WARBUCKS. Enjoy that this weekend. Tomorrow night, the cool shit is going to be going on. Have fun with it. And watch the doors and corners, kids. That's where they get you. And the special reserved place for the last word of the night tonight goes to Commander Roy Cookson. Say goodbye to the beautiful people.
Well, it's going to be hard to wait until next Thursday, so in the meantime, I'll just say, tell Commander Shepard to meet me in the comm room for a debriefing.
On my way.
Dude, are you about to romance Shepard? What? All right. Good night, everybody. Let's play some music and get the hell out of here.
2, 3. Don't go changing to try and please me. You've never let me down before. Oh, no. Don't imagine you're too familiar, and I don't see you anymore. Oh, I would not leave you in times of trouble. No, we never could have come this far. Oh. I took the good times, I'll take the bad times. I'll take it just the way you are. Oh, don't go trying some new fashion, no. The color of your hair. Oh, you always have my unspoken passion. Though I might not see a girl. Oh, I don't want lover conversation, no. I never wanna work that hard. Oh, I just want someone that I can talk to. said I love you, and that's forever, yeah. That's our promise from the heart. Oh, I could not love you any better. I love you just the way you are. Said I love you, that's forever. Oh, and that's our promise from